Chapter 3651. After all, the powerful cultivation experience in his previous life made it much easier for Fang Chen to raise his cultivation level. During his seclusion, he mainly comprehended the invincible sword technique. As for the sky-slashing alchemy technique, he did not dare to use it easily. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, that was the legendary supreme technique. In the secret chamber of the commander's mansion, Fang Chen's body was surrounded by a strong origin energy aura. He opened his palm, and the strong origin energy gathered in his palm and condensed into a water droplet. At the same time, in Fang Chen's mind, dense water element aura appeared. This is the water origin. I see. Fang Chen sighed. He did not expect the second origin to be comprehended to be the water origin. Moreover, it was obviously much easier to comprehend it compared to when he was in the Chaos Realm. Rumble. At this moment, the water droplet in his palm suddenly exploded. A terrifying power swept over and instantly enveloped Fang Chen. The huge secret chamber turned into a boundless sea and drowned Fang Chen's body. Have I broken through? Fang Chen muttered to himself. He did not expect to be able to break through after comprehending the origin. Not long after, the power in his body stabilized. Peak 3rd level Holy King. With my current strength, if I go all out, I should be able to fight against a 5th level Holy Emperor. Fang Chen muttered to himself. However, he did not bring anything with him when he reincarnated. Until now, he did not have a suitable weapon. Let's get a weapon first. After stopping his cultivation, Fang Chen got up and left the secret chamber. General Hu. Fang Chen was a little surprised. He could clearly feel that General Hu was waiting for him. Commander, you are finally out of seclusion. General Hu said anxiously. He was one of the few generals who supported the commander, and Fang Chen had a deep influence on him. It was also because of this that he was hated by the faction led by Li Shu. What's wrong? Fang Chen asked. Not long after you went into seclusion, an independent battle group that we sent out on a mission was completely annihilated. General Hu said, we suspect that this incident is most likely targeted at you, Commander. Soon, Fang Chen understood what had happened. It turned out that the independent battle group that was destroyed was the battle group under General Hu, daring to attack the military palace in the territory of the Carefree Prefecture. How audacious. Fang Chen's face was cold. Initially, he did not want to lower himself to the same level as Li Shu, Yi Long, and the others. He only wanted to increase his cultivation as soon as possible so that he could obtain Xiao Yarohu's blood. Who would have thought that they would force him again and again? Did he really think that he was a pushover? Where did it happen? Fang Chen asked. The Five Rivers battle group was quite powerful in the military palace. The fact that the Five Rivers battle group could be wiped out without anyone noticing was enough to prove that the enemy had come prepared. Moreover, it had to be a Saint Emperor at the very least. Thinking of this, Fang Chen's eyes flashed with a cold light. It's in a mountain range outside the military palace. General Hu told Fang Chen the location of the incident. I'll go take a look, Fang Chen said. Commander. General Hu was worried and wanted to stop him. It's okay, I know what to do. Then, Fang Chen quietly left the military palace. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Outside the military palace. At a glance, the endless mountain range was lush and green with towering trees. Fang Chen leaped and quickly arrived at the location of the incident. It was a hidden valley. As soon as he approached the valley, Fang Chen felt a strong killing intent. The valley was empty. However, the smell of blood still lingered in the air. Fang Chen closed his eyes and released his divine sense to capture the remaining aura in the air. Soon after, his mind was shaken. Then, he waved his hand and a wave of water spurted out from his palm and sprinkled in the void. The next moment, an image appeared in the void. In the image, there was a pattern of a black butterfly. As expected, Fang Chen was angry. This black butterfly was the symbol of the Helan battle group. Are you trying to intimidate me? He deliberately left the symbol of the battle group for Fang Chen to see. No wonder he ranked second in the overall selection of the younger generation of the Carefree Mansion. His vision is really good. Suddenly, a black-clothed figure walked out from a dark corner. "Who are you?" Fang Chen asked. "Who I am is not important." The black-clothed figure added, "What's important is that you must die." Fang Chen stared at the black-clothed figure. "You want to kill me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability." Swoosh. He took the lead and used his finger as a sword to perform the invincible sword technique. First sword. Second sword. He stabbed 3 times in a row. The terrifying sword light crisscrossed and forced the black-clothed figure to retreat. "You're courting death." The black-clothed figure was angry and threw a black ball at Fang Chen. Seeing this, Fang Chen dodged subconsciously. Boom. The black ball exploded violently and the earth shook. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the black-clothed figure continued to attack Fang Chen. At the same time, in the military palace, Li Shu stood with his hands behind his back. Beside him, Yi Long was a little worried. "General Li Shu, are you really okay?" After all, the Helan battle group's symbol was left in the valley. Once Fang Chen reported it to Xiaoyaro Hu, they would all die. Killing each other was strictly prohibited in the military palace. This was an iron law. Anyway, the Helan battle group is a group of troublemakers. I've long wanted to deal with them. Li Shu was full of confidence. If Lin Chen is not strong enough and dies in the valley, then this matter will be over. If he can escape, he will definitely go to the Helan battle group and punish them. At that time, we will sit on the mountain and watch them kill each other. Yi Long's eyes were shining. This move was indeed vicious. Killing with a borrowed knife. Lin Chen and the Helan battle group would fight to the death. In the end, one side would be defeated. No matter what the result was, it was very beneficial to them. They were already in an invincible position. As expected of General Li Shu, Yi Long gave a thumbs up. "Young Master Xiao, he promised that when he has a firm foothold, he will take me over and cultivate together. At that time, the position of Commander-in-Chief of the military palace will still be taken by General Li Shu." Yi Long's ambition was not here. But Li Shu was different. He was very ambitious and wanted to completely control the Xiaoyaro army. Outside the military palace, in the valley, after a fierce battle, the black-clothed figure was stabbed by Fang Chen. How is this possible? The black-clothed figure's eyes widened in disbelief. He had clearly dodged, so how could he be stabbed in the back by Fang Chen? Die! The sword pierced through the black-clothed figure's chest. Boom! The black-clothed figure's body suddenly exploded. The turbulent airwave sent Fang Chen flying. He steadied himself and frowned. It seemed that the matter was much more serious than he had imagined. A Saint Emperor expert would rather explode than be captured by him. They did not want to leave any evidence. However, Chapter 3652. In the military palace. When Fang Chen returned, it was already late at night. He immediately started an investigation and checked all the information of the independent battle groups in the military palace. In the end, his gaze landed on the file of the Black Regiment Battle Group. The black butterfly symbol was the symbol of the Black Orchid Battle Group. There was a black butterfly symbol in the valley. No matter what, the Black Orchid Battle Group couldn't get away with it. The next day, Fang Chen personally went to the Black Orchid Battle Group. He actually came back alive. Li Shu was a little surprised. The commander didn't die in the valley. He was deep in thought when Yi Long walked over. General Li Shu, Lin Chen came back alive. Yi Long's expression was a little ugly. He originally thought that there was no need for a second plan, but he didn't expect Lin Chen to come back alive. It seems that he is hiding a lot of secrets. Yi Long's heart trembled. During the general selection competition, he had fought with Lin Chen. At that time, he felt that the latter was not simple. It's useless to say more. The Black Orchid Battle Group is not to be trifled with. Li Shu sneered, waiting to see Lin Chen make a fool of himself. In the Black Orchid Battle Group. Guys, the new commander hasn't come to our Black Orchid Battle Group for so long. What does he mean? Is he looking down on our Black Orchid Battle Group? If he dares to come, I will teach him a lesson. In the huge military palace, the Black Orchid Battle Group was the most special battle group. There were countless thorns in it. Before Fang Chen came, it was the biggest headache for the generals in the military palace. Almost no one was willing to care about the Black Orchid Battle Group. This also caused the members of the Black Orchid Battle Group to be even more arrogant and despotic. They didn't even put the generals in their eyes. Not to mention the new commander-in-chief. He had less experience and was from the younger generation of Thousand Autumns City. The members of the Black Orchid Battle Group were all geniuses of the major families and forces. They were proud and arrogant. How could they submit to Fang Chen? The commander has arrived. Suddenly, a voice came from outside the door. The members of the Black Orchid Battle Group looked at each other, and an imperceptible smile appeared in their eyes. Speak of the devil. Come, let's go and meet this new commander. Let's see how capable he is. A group of people walked out of the tent. Who is the new commander? The armored man had a deep scar on his face. He was the vice commander of the Black Orchid Legion. I am. Fang Chen said calmly. As soon as he said this, everyone's eyes focused on Fang Chen. They were a little surprised. They didn't expect Fang Chen to be so young. You, after a long time. Only then did the vice commander react. He looked at Fang Chen with disdain as he sneered and said, "May I know why commander has come to my Black Orchid group?" He looked humble, but he was actually arrogant. I say, Lord Commander, you've just been appointed. Are you going to lead our Black Orchid Legion to the battlefield? Someone jeered. The others burst into laughter. Impudent. Fang Chen's personal guard reprimanded him. The Lord Commander is here. Do not be rude. However, the only response he got was a crisp slap. A hairy man flashed and instantly appeared in front of the bodyguard. He slapped him without hesitation. Who do you think you are? The hairy man said coldly. This is the Black Orchid Legion. What right do you have to speak? The bodyguard was annoyed. It seems that you still don't learn your lesson. After that, the hairy man continued to slap him. Slap. This time, the crisp sound was heard again. However, everyone found that the hairy man didn't hit the commander's bodyguard. Instead, he was stopped by a palm. Heh! The hairy man used all his strength to break free, but he was shocked to find that the commander's palm was like a pair of pliers, firmly clamping him. You dare to hit my men? The Black Orchid Legion is really something. Crash. Fang Chen suddenly loosened his grip. A hidden force drilled into the hairy man's body. There was a loud bang. The hairy man's body flew out and smashed onto the ground. Dust flew everywhere. This sudden turn of events caused the members of the Heilan battle group to turn solemn. Commander, what is the meaning of this? At this time, the deputy commander stood out and questioned. I didn't come here to watch the performance of the Black Orchid Legion. Fang Chen was indifferent. Your arrogance and despotism is useless to me. Others were afraid of their background, but Fang Chen didn't care about this. Your so-called background is worthless in my eyes. Speaking of this, he paused for a moment. Fang Chen's cold gaze swept across everyone, and then he said in a deep voice, I came here today to condemn you. Crash. Fang Chen flicked his finger, and a smooth mirror suddenly appeared in the void. A scene appeared on the mirror. A black butterfly appeared out of thin air, causing the void to ripple. An independent legion of our Black Orchid Legion was ambushed while carrying out a mission, and all of them died. I went to the scene and found this black butterfly. Fang Chen's attitude was very tough. Please explain to me, what does this mean? Humph, slandering us? You want to slander us? It must be the new commander who wants to punish our Black Orchid Legion. For a moment, everyone in the Black Orchid Legion was filled with righteous indignation. You think it was us who did it? The deputy commander said in a deep voice. Otherwise, Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back. The deputy commander was silent, his eyes turned, and he was thinking in his mind. After a long time, he raised his head and looked at Fang Chen again. I got it. Boom. A violent aura suddenly burst out from his body. He took a step forward, and thunder surged. With boundless power, he looked down at Fang Chen from a high position. My Black Orchid Legion is an independent legion. If you want us to surrender, why do you need to use such despicable means? Besides, even if it was my Black Orchid Legion who did it, so what? The Black Orchid Legion was furious. Not to mention that it wasn't them. So what if it was them who did it? Killing a fellow disciple is a capital crime. Fang Chen said calmly. Everyone in the Black Orchid Legion deserves death. You dare! Everyone was furious. It will be carried out in 3 days. If you don't agree, go find Xiaoyaro Hu. After leaving these words, Fang Chen no longer paid attention to the people of the Black Orchid Legion and left the place. He left behind a group of furious people. Deputy Commander, the commander is too much. Humph, if you really think you are the commander, you should look in the mirror and see what you look like. You want to use this to wipe out my Black Orchid Legion? Dream on. Back in the main hall. Commander, the personal guard couldn't help but ask. Does it matter if they were the ones behind this? Fang Chen asked. If they did it, then they should accept the punishment. If they didn't do it, they would definitely find the real culprit. One had to know that Fang Chen had given them 3 days. Chapter 3653. Killing one's own people was unforgivable. When Fang Chen declared the crimes of the Helan battle group in the name of the Commander-in-Chief, everyone finally realized that something was wrong. This time, the Commander-in-Chief was serious. Everyone's gaze gathered on the Helan battle group. They were very curious. Would the Helan battle group, formed by thorns, accept their fate? Obviously, they wouldn't. That day, discordant voices came from the Helan battle group. Most people wanted to fight with the Commander-in-Chief. The Helan battle group couldn't be bullied. They thought that the Commander-in-Chief wanted to use this as an excuse to suppress them. So, no matter what, they couldn't give in. Of course, some people were seriously thinking about the problem. Deputy Commander, the Commander-in-Chief wants to kill us. Some members were more anxious. Are we just going to do nothing? H. This Commander-in-Chief thinks that he can do whatever he wants because the Marquis gave him orders. He's really looking for death. That's right. If he provokes the Helan battle group, go and kill him. The Deputy Commander waved his hand, indicating for everyone to be quiet. Everyone. The Deputy Commander looked around and calmed everyone's emotions. The valley that the Commander-in-Chief showed us did indeed have the symbol of the black butterfly. The Deputy Commander pondered. He thought for a long time and felt that there was something wrong with this matter. Not long ago, one of our brothers' independent battle groups was completely wiped out. You should also know that the place where they were wiped out has the symbol of the Helan battle group. What does this mean? As soon as he said this, everyone looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with intense flames. What else can it be? It must be that the new Commander-in-Chief wants to use this opportunity to suppress us. That's right. Although there are many thorns in the Helan battle group, they are all loyal. At least, they won't betray the military palace, someone said. Before this, Li Shu tried to suppress us many times but failed in the end. Now that the new Commander-in-Chief has taken office, he must have heard something. Everyone chimed in one after another. However, they didn't get to the core point. We've been framed. That's for sure. The question now was, who was framing them? Was it the new Commander-in-Chief? Or was it someone else? If it was the second case, then the new Commander-in-Chief had been used as a tool. In any case, whoever dared to frame the Black Orchid battle group, no matter who he was, he would make him pay the price. I'll go talk to the commander. In the end, the deputy commander decided to personally negotiate with the Commander-in-Chief. No. His actions were stopped by the others. What a joke. The commander had already given the Black Orchid battle group an ultimatum. If he went now, wouldn't he be walking right into a trap? Everyone, don't worry. The commander will not go out. I will be in charge of the Black Orchid battle group. I have to be responsible for all the brothers. The vice commander patted his chest and said. In fact, the deputy commander was worried that if they resisted 3 days later, Fang Chen would report to Xiaoyaro Hu in a fit of anger. At that time, their Black Orchid battle group would be finished. Secondly, the deputy commander also wanted to test the new commander. What was his intention? Was it him who wanted to suppress the Black Orchid battle group, or was it someone else? Commander's residence. Fang Chen didn't waste any time. He went into seclusion to cultivate. The origin world was filled with extremely dense origin energy. For him, the benefits were too great. 1. He opened his palm, and the two forces of water and fire intertwined together. He was trying to fuse the origin energy. Hiss. As soon as the two completely different origin energy touched, they were quickly repelled by each other and then dispersed. Bang. In the end, the origin energy fusion ended in failure. Whoosh. Fang Chen grinned. Origin energy fusion, how could it be so easy? At this moment, the communication token vibrated. The deputy commander of the Black Orchid battle group is looking for me. Fang Chen rolled his eyes and got up to leave the secret chamber. Not long after, he met the deputy commander in the meeting hall. Commander-in-Chief. The deputy commander said. What's the matter? Fang Chen asked straightforwardly. If I say that the Black Orchid battle group was framed, would you believe me? The deputy commander asked. Unexpectedly, the commander-in-chief nodded directly. I believe you. The deputy commander was a little surprised and dumbfounded. Then, why did you convict the Black Orchid battle group and want to execute it 3 days later? Ordinary people didn't have such courage. Because I want to let you know who is the commander-in-chief of the military palace. Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back and said calmly. The deputy commander was even more speechless. Just because of this. He opened his mouth and was about to say something. However, Fang Chen spoke first and interrupted him. I don't care how many thorns you have in the Black Orchid battle group. As long as you don't do anything against the military palace, I can turn a blind eye. Fang Chen said. So, please take back the previous order, the deputy commander said. He couldn't see through this young man in front of him. Fang Chen shook his head. The evidence is irrefutable. I found the black butterfly symbol at the scene. But this is a false accusation. The deputy commander was a little anxious. Fang Chen turned around leisurely and looked at the deputy commander with a smile. Since you know this is a false accusation, why don't you investigate it clearly? The deputy commander was stunned and suddenly understood. It turned out that this was the commander-in-chief's real intention. I found this at the scene. Fang Chen waved his hand and a small fragment flew out from his arms. The deputy commander caught it and stared at the commander-in-chief with a complicated expression. Before coming, he had a lot to say. But after seeing Fang Chen, he felt that his preparations were in vain. He couldn't see through the commander-in-chief at all. So, this matter was not done by the commander-in-chief. The deputy commander asked in a deep voice. At the same time, he became vigilant. If the commander-in-chief really framed him, then he had to take action. Ha ha. Fang Chen shook his head. My heart is not here. A small world like the Xiaoyaro mansion is not my stage. His stage was in the chaotic realm. He couldn't spend his mind on the Xiaoyaro army and the military palace. The deputy commander seemed to have understood something. For the whole afternoon, the deputy commander and Fang Chen talked. No one knew what the two talked about. They only knew that when the deputy commander left, his expression was heavy. Commander-in-chief, how was it? The bodyguard asked. They are smart people. They should know what to do. Fang Chen smiled meaningfully. In the main hall of the Helan Legion, the deputy commander came back as everyone was looking forward to it. His expression was a little heavy. Deputy commander, what happened? Is this the commander-in-chief's doing? Brothers, let's go to the commander-in-chief's residence and kill him. Everyone was furious. Everyone, from now on, do everything you can to investigate this matter. Anyone who dares to frame the Helan Legion will pay a heavy price. No one knew what to do. Deputy Commander, what happened? Chapter 3654. Military Palace. Due to the lack of a leader, the Black Orchid battle group would restrain themselves a little. But this time, the Black Orchid battle group was framed. After a series of secret talks between the vice commander and the commander, they finally made a counterattack. First, they had to thoroughly investigate this matter and find out who framed the Black Orchid battle group. The vice commander personally went to the valley to investigate. Then, he ordered all the members to try their best to find other clues. Finally, in 2 days, the Black Orchid battle group obtained some important clues. After many rounds of selection, they locked onto the 3 generals. Vice Commander, what do you think? A member asked. The 3 suspicious people were General Li Shu, General He Wei, and General Li Ji. The 3 of them had high prestige in the military palace and represented 3 different factions. Among them, General Li Shu was the most low-key one. General He Wei had outstanding military achievements. He had once killed 3,000 enemies by himself and became famous in one battle. He was a radical, but he was also a war advocate. His uncompromising personality made him only want to charge forward when facing challenges from the enemy. Simply put, he was brave but not smart. The 3rd was General Li Ji. When he saw this name, the vice commander frowned and his expression became serious. This General Li Ji was the only one of the 3 who had a grudge with the Black Orchid battle group. Moreover, he had wanted to take the Black Orchid battle group under his command more than once. A few months ago, he had even injured a messenger of the Black Orchid battle group. At that time, the Black Orchid battle group was furious and almost rebelled. Is it him? Someone asked. The vice commander played with the brush in his hand and thought to himself. Roughly speaking, Secretary Li is the most suspicious person on the list. The least suspicious was Li Shu. This was because he was a peacemaker. Everyone would give him face. When Li Ji attacked the Black Orchid battle group, Li Shu had even stood up for them. It's not him. After a long while, under the gazes of many people, the vice commander finally spoke. He had come to this conclusion after careful consideration. I know Li Ji very well. He hates evil and is straightforward. He is definitely not a sinister person. To be able to become the deputy commander of the Black Orchid battle group, his intelligence was not something ordinary people could compare to. We've dealt with him before, and he's always honest with us. He won't lie, and he won't frame us. But what if he's not what he appears to be? Someone raised an objection. No matter what, he couldn't wrong a good person, but he couldn't let a villain off either. Let's let the deputy commander analyze it first. The hall fell silent again. The deputy commander continued to analyze the basic information of the 3 people, as well as some top-secret information that they had, and even their interests and hobbies. A comprehensive analysis of everything. Not long after, the sound of hurried footsteps came from outside the hall. The person who came was the chief commander's personal guard. Vice Commander. The bodyguard cupped his fists and took out a letter from his bosom, handing it to the vice commander. The Lord Commander asked me to personally pass this to you, Deputy Commander. The latter took the letter. Since the letter has been delivered, I'll take my leave. With that, the bodyguard left. When the vice commander opened the letter, his expression changed drastically. Commander's residence. Commander, the letter has been delivered. The personal guard returned to report. Fang Chen nodded. Is the Lord Commander sure that the incident this time was caused by the Deputy Commander and General Li Shu? The personal guard asked doubtfully. That's not important. Fang Chen smiled mysteriously. He just wanted to quell the internal strife in the military palace as soon as possible. His relationship with the Black Orchid Legion was just a mutually beneficial cooperation. The Black Orchid Legion was cautious and wouldn't jump to conclusions. Therefore, he provided some clues to the vice commander. As for whether the clues were true or not, was it important? Fang Chen didn't care whether the Black Orchid Legion would take action or not. At this moment, he had already arrived at the military palace's treasury. Only the chief commander could enter and exit the treasury at will. The countless wealth and rare treasures that the carefree army had collected over the years were all collected here. Creak. The door of the treasury opened, and Fang Chen entered alone. His gaze swept across the entire treasury and he sighed. There were many rare treasures in the treasury, but they were useless to him. His real purpose was to devour the demon blood. In a short while, he found the place where the demon blood was kept. On one of the steps of the treasury, there was a yellow cover that covered the 3 drops of demon blood. Swoosh! Seeing this, Fang Chen's eyes lit up. He reached out his hand, wanting to grab the blood. But he was shocked to find that the yellow cover stopped him. Suddenly, an illusory figure appeared in the void. It was the spirit of the treasury. Lord Commander, even you can't take the treasures of the treasury at will. If he wanted to get them, he had to complete the mission. How can I get them? Fang Chen asked. These 3 drops of blood are the precious blood of the demon-devouring race. They are also the most important things in the treasury. They are priceless, the spirit said. You can go to the battlefield and collect the remains of the enemy. 100 Saint Emperor remains can be exchanged for 1 drop of blood. What if I want all 3 drops? Fang Chen continued to ask. The spirit was stunned for a moment. Then it said seriously, Lord Commander, I think you don't quite understand the terrible situation on the battlefield. On the battlefield, the enemy experts were all very cunning. It was already very difficult to kill a single Saint Emperor, let alone 100 Saint Emperors. So, until now, no one had been able to exchange for the blood. So, as long as I bring back 300 Saint Emperor remains, I can exchange for 3 drops of blood. Fang Chen said. The spirit nodded. Fang Chen did not say anything and directly left the treasury. Looks like I have to speed up. Li Shu's residence. General Li Shu, the Black Orchid battle group seems to be pointing their spear at us, Yi Long said in a low voice. Li Shu was very calm. A bunch of brainless fellows. They must have been used by the commander. Li Shu sneered, but this is also good. If he can use them, so can I. They had already received news that the Black Orchid battle group had locked onto the 3 of them as suspects. All these years, Li Shu had secretly cultivated many spies and mixed them into the various battle groups. Even in the Black Orchid battle group, there were some of his people. Spread the news that the new commander wants to reorganize the military palace and is willing to frame the meritorious officials. Li Shu smiled eerily. Last time, he got rid of him. Let's see how he can escape this time. Yi Long grinned when he heard that. General Li Shu, if you can chase Lin Chen away or make him die mysteriously on the battlefield, my mission will be completed. At that time, I will leave and you will be in charge of the military palace. Very soon, this day will come. Chapter 3655. The new commander wanted to reorganize the military palace. He didn't hesitate to frame the meritorious officials. When this news spread out, the entire military palace was in an uproar. A new broom sweeps clean. Could this be the temperament of a commander? Some rumors and slanders were constantly being spread. Of course, this didn't affect the Heelan group at all. Instead, they got more important clues from the investigation. Li Shu, the deputy commander, was furious. He didn't expect that the final suspect would be Li Shu. Deputy commander, could it be wrong? Someone asked. Yes, among the 3 suspects, General Li Shu should be the least suspicious. General Li Shu has a lot of prestige in the military palace. If you want to touch him, you have to think carefully. The deputy commander nodded. The power behind the Heelan group was beyond everyone's imagination. They had their own forces in almost every part of the Xiao Yarrow Palace. I'll go and verify it. The deputy commander got up and left. 6 hours later, he returned to the Heelan group. How is it? The deputy commander's face was gloomy and angry. Take the brothers and find Li Shu. Are you sure? They exclaimed. After getting the confirmation from the deputy commander, they were surprised. Li Shu's mansion. The members of the Black Orchid battle group had surrounded the mansion. Li Shu. The vice commander roared in an overbearing manner. Suddenly, the mansion's door opened. Li Shu slowly walked out from inside. Beside him was Deputy Commander Yi Long. What business do you have with me? Li Shu was very calm. You still have the face to say that. The vice commander scolded. You killed your comrades from the military palace and even tried to frame my Black Orchid battle group. What a brilliant move you made. For Li Shu, this was a plan to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. First, He got rid of the obstacle that had been holding him back. Second, he got rid of the new commander with the help of the Helan group. Third, he took the opportunity to subdue the Helan group. However, he didn't expect that. He left a crucial clue, which allowed the Helan group to lock onto him. I don't understand what you are talking about. Li Shu shook his head. He definitely wouldn't admit it. The place where the group died while carrying out the mission has a clear black butterfly symbol. The commander has already investigated and gave the Helan group a final warning. Li Shu shrugged. The commander-in-chief is the head of the military palace. His words can decide everything. You are all guilty, yet you came to besiege Li Shu's residence. Adding to your crimes, you should all be executed. As soon as he said this, the expressions of some people in the Black Orchid battle group changed greatly. Of course, the vice commander would not be intimidated by his words. Li Shu, are you still not going to admit it? The vice commander sneered. He waved his hand, and an imperceptible golden line appeared in his palm. This was found at the scene of death. What else do you have to say? Everyone knew that this golden thread was the weapon of Li Shu's golden-clothed troop. What can this prove? Li Shu still shook his head. Maybe it was a deliberate attempt on his life. After all, someone has been to the first crime scene. What he was implying was that the new commander-in-chief was framing them. That's right. You people are so arrogant that you dare to frame General Li Shu. As the deputy commander, I give the order to execute your entire family. Yi Long sneered. Even though he knew that it was Li Shu who did it, he was not worried at all. And Commander Lin Chen tried to frame a loyal person. I will report this matter to the Xiao Yarrow mansion and wait for the Marquis to make a decision. Yi Long held the deputy commander's golden seal. However, during this period, I will suspend the commander-in-chief's duties in the name of the Marquis. Lin Chen's sinner was to bewitch the Black Orchid battle group and frame a loyal person. Just one sinner was more than enough. Do you think I'm a fool? The vice commander sneered. If he did not have sufficient evidence, would he bring the Black Orchid battle group here? Oh, you don't agree? The evidence was right in front of them. Everything was meaningless. Yi Long was very strong. He had already ordered the other battle groups to surround the Black Orchid battle group. Anyone who disobeys will be killed without mercy. However, at this moment, Fang Chen had arrived. Whoosh! In the distant horizon, a figure approached from afar. Soon, he arrived beside the vice commander. Clap, clap, clap. He clapped his hands with a bright smile on his face. Wonderful, truly wonderful. Lin Chen, you have been suspended by me. Please accept the investigation. Yi Long said angrily. Fang Chen did not think much of it. He stared at Li Shu. Do you think that you did it flawlessly? Li Shu did not speak. Unfortunately, no matter how you calculated, you still underestimated my ability. While speaking, Fang Chen flipped his palm, and a cold aura appeared in his palm. This aura quickly condensed into an ice pillar. Everyone present saw this scene, especially the many generals. They received the order from the commander-in-chief and rushed here. They did not expect to see this scene. Then, how do you explain this? Fang Chen asked with a smile. Li Shu, who was originally very calm, also seemed a little flustered at this moment. His body shook slightly, and he forced himself to calm down. What can this prove? Fang Chen shook his head. You still haven't given up until now? He waved his hand, and all the generals came closer. Li Shu, we have been together for so many years. Do you still want to deceive us? This is the ice condensed by Li Shu's unique secret technique. Yes, the evidence is irrefutable. However, Li Shu still did not admit it. Someone is plotting to frame me. What is this thing? You still haven't given up. Fang Chen waved his hand, and suddenly drops of water gathered in the void, condensing into a smooth mirror surface. This was the memory droplet. Without a doubt, Fang Chen had discovered it in that valley. After his inspection, he happened to find that the memory droplet recorded the situation of that day. On the smooth mirror surface, there was a battle group that was on a mission, resting here. All of a sudden, a figure appeared out of thin air. With absolute strength, he annihilated this battle group. That kind of power was the power of ice that everyone was familiar with. After destroying the battle group, the black-clothed man floated in the air and turned his head to look. At this time, a person walked out leisurely from the dark. It was General Li Shu. Leave the aftermath to me. Next, it was the process of Li Shu forging the black butterfly symbol and framing the black orchid battle group. After watching it all, the droplet collapsed. At this time, Li Shu's face was pale, and he kept retreating. Even Yi Long was a little flustered. What should we do? Yi Long blamed Li Shu. After all, Li Shu was a person who had experienced war and quickly calmed down. He insisted that it was on the orders of the Deputy Commander-in-Chief Yi Long Li Shu. Yi Long was furious, but Li Shu directly slapped out. Yi Long could not dodge in time and his head was smashed into pieces. He died instantly. Chapter 3656. After all, Yi Long was of the younger generation. His strength was much weaker than Li Shu's. Moreover, Li Shu was a general of the military palace and had been fighting for his life on the battlefield. This was also the reason why he was so ruthless. Knowing that the matter had been exposed, he directly attacked Yi Long and killed him. Then, he could push all the blame to Yi Long. Anyway, he had just arrived at the military palace and was the deputy commander. He had no supporters. On the other hand, he was deeply rooted in the military palace and many generals were secretly supporting him. As long as there was a way out, he could perfectly resolve this crisis. Of course, the most important thing was, the dead told no tales. Humph, if I had seen your true face earlier, I would not have colluded with you. Li Shu said coldly. Even Fang Chen was taken aback by his actions. He did not expect that his ally would betray him. He glanced at the generals and saw the subtle changes on their faces. The consequences of forming an alliance with Li Shu were so miserable that they had to consider for themselves and weigh the pros and cons. In short, their hearts were shaken. The deputy commander's eyes flashed and he said coldly, Li Shu, you're really good at this. I don't understand what you're talking about. Li Shu shook his head and showed an innocent look. Your Helan battle group was framed and you want to investigate the truth. I can understand your feelings, so I'm willing to cooperate with your investigation. Deputy Commander Yi Long is the executor. There must be someone behind him. No matter what, we have to find this person. Our military palace will not allow such a despicable person to sow discord. Li Shu said with righteous indignation. Ordinary ignorant people were already on his side. Unfortunately, Fang Chen and the Helan battle group were already prepared. Li Shu, you still don't admit it. The deputy commander was aggressive. Is this interesting? He pointed at the corpses on the ground and sneered, Vice Commander Yi Long is newly transferred. What ability does he have to mobilize other battle groups? What ability does he have to kill our battle groups? What? You don't believe me? Li Shu frowned and was very unhappy. If you don't believe me, you can ask the Marquis. Ha ha. Fang Chen chuckled and took out another item from his bosom. It was a wooden stick the size of a thumb. However, when it appeared, everyone's expressions changed greatly. They stared at the wooden stick in Fang Chen's hand, dumbfounded. Now, what do you have to say? Thunderstruck wood. In the huge military palace, only General Li Shu had it. He had shown it to the public before. In his previous life, Fang Chen had also obtained thunderstruck wood and used it. Therefore, he knew the thunderstruck wood like the back of his hand. This was discovered at the place where it originated. Everyone looked at Li Shu with a strange expression. The latter still forced himself to remain calm. What can a piece of thunderstruck wood prove? Li Shu waved his hand and said disdainfully, although I'm the only one in the military palace who has the thunderstruck wood, how many people in the vast territory of the Carefree Mansion have the thunderstruck wood? Maybe Vice Commander Yi Long colluded with outsiders to kill the people in the military palace? In any case, Xiao Chen refused to admit it, pushing all the blame to Yi Long. Li Shu did not believe that they would dare to convict him. Moreover, he was a senior general in the military palace. Only Duke Xiaoyaro was qualified to touch him. Still quibbling. Before the vice commander could speak, The other members of the Helan battle group were already furious. "How dare you frame our Helan battle group? If you don't give us an explanation today, don't even think about going." As soon as he finished speaking, a few members of the Helan battle group attacked. Terrifying auras were released from their bodies. With a stomp of their feet, they floated in the air. Behind them, shadows of black butterflies appeared. Roar. Angry roars were heard. Several people joined forces to besiege Li Shu. Presumptuous. Li Shu was furious and counterattacked. He entered the battle circle and kept attacking with both hands, blocking attacks from all directions. The vice commander looked at Fang Chen, asking with his eyes. The latter signaled him to calm down. As expected, the battle stopped abruptly after more than 10 moves. Because Li Shu, who was in the middle of the battle, was forced to retreat by the joint forces of several people. His clothes were torn and something fell out. Clang. A charred wooden stick fell to the ground. This is thunderstruck wood. Someone recognized the charred wooden stick. As for Fang Chen, he reacted quickly and put it away in an instant. "Give it back to me," Li Shu said angrily. Under everyone's gaze, Fang Chen picked up the thunderstruck wood and pieced it together with the thunderstruck wood he had obtained before. What was shocking was that after the 2 pieces of thunderstruck wood were pieced together, there were no traces of them being pieced together. What did this mean? "It's really you." The vice commander's eyes were sharp as he said coldly. The thunderstruck wood that the commander obtained from the scene was completely cut from the piece of thunderstruck wood on Li Shu's body. The traces were exactly the same. Irrefutable evidence. "What else do you want to say?" The vice commander took a step forward with an imposing manner. The other generals were extremely surprised. Some generals who were close to Li Shu shook their heads when they saw this situation. They quietly retreated, fearing that they would be implicated by Li Shu. Li Shu's face was ferocious. He stared at Fang Chen fiercely, wishing he could tear him into pieces. "Damn bastard." Li Shu flew into a rage out of humiliation and wanted to kill Fang Chen. Unfortunately, the Black Orchid battle group was already prepared. Thousands of people formed a battle formation and trapped Li Shu. Li Shu killed his compatriots in the military palace. "This is a heinous crime. I have decided to execute him on the spot." Seeing that someone was about to make a move, Fang Chen added, "If anyone dares to plead for mercy, they will be regarded as accomplices." As soon as these words came out, everyone quieted down. They knew. After today, the military palace would be completely in the hands of the commander. Kill. Li Shu's eyes were red. He could not care so much anymore. As long as the green hills are there, there will be firewood. As long as he could escape from here and save his life, there would be plenty of opportunities for revenge in the future. "You're dead." But although the Black Orchid battle group was a group of troublemakers, their combat strength was also very strong. Especially their 1,000-man battle formation. Once formed, even a sage would find it difficult to escape. In the blink of an eye, Li Shu was covered with wounds. "Die." The vice commander personally suppressed Li Shu. He smashed Li Shu's head with a palm. A hero of a generation fell just like that. He would never have dreamed that he would die in the hands of the Black Orchid battle group that he had always regarded as a troublemaker and wanted to get rid of. With Li Shu's death, the framing incident had come to an end. After this incident, Fang Chen had the absolute right to speak in the military palace. And the Black Orchid battle group also chose to stand on his side. "It's finally settled." Fang Chen shook his head. He did not want these trivial matters to waste his time. Chapter 3657. The problem in the military palace was finally solved. Next, Fang Chen used 3 days to take control of the entire military palace. The generals who were in the same faction as Li Shu were either demoted or redeemed themselves. As for the others, they were all loyal to him. Especially the Helan battle group. Led by the vice commander, everyone's attitude towards Fang Chen changed greatly. They respected their new commander from the bottom of their hearts. This made the other generals exclaim that he was indeed the commander appointed by Duke Xiaoyao. He had only been in the military palace for a short period of time and he was already able to take in the famous Helan battle group. He was truly amazing. However, Fang Chen did not care about this. His goal was not to become the commander of the military palace. He would not serve Duke Xiaoyao. Tell me about the situation on the battlefield. In the commander's residence, Fang Chen asked. His bodyguard said. There are 2 other residences around Xiaoyao residence. They are Tianyu residence and Wise Lord residence. These 2 residences, like Xiaoyao residence, belonged to the demon-devouring clan leader. All along, the 3 forces had been fighting for territory. As a result, a series of wars had broken out. At the intersection of the 3 forces, there was an abandoned continent. This continent was called the 3 Residences Continent, which was also the core battlefield. Due to some special reasons, the 3 Residences Continent had long been destroyed and filled with smoke. The continent was named this way because of the 3 forces. There were powerful seals around the 3 Residences Continent. There were only 3 entrances, which were controlled by the 3 forces. In other words, to kill the enemy, one had to enter the battlefield. Once one entered the battlefield, it would take at least 10 years before one could return. 10 years. Fang Chen frowned. 10 years was too long. Of course, there is another way, which is to kill enough enemies. The bodyguard said. Hearing this, Fang Chen's eyes lit up. He hurriedly asked, how many? 100 enemies of the Holy Emperor level or 10,000 Holy Kings? Fang Chen nodded. He had originally wanted to kill 300 enemies of the Holy Emperor level, which coincided with this standard. When I am not around, the Helan battle group will be in charge. If anyone disagrees, kill them on the spot. Fang Chen ordered. Yes, Commander. The military palace was the headquarters of the Carefree Army, and there was a teleportation formation that led to the battlefield. Before Fang Chen left, he had a private conversation with the vice commander of the Black Orchid Legion. After that, he took the teleportation formation and left. Vice Commander, how is it? Someone asked. There was a trace of a smile on the tanned face of the vice commander. The commander didn't lie to us. The vice commander said. Back then, they had agreed to cooperate with the commander-in-chief to investigate Li Shu because the latter had given them a promise. Right now, they were naturally happy that the commander-in-chief had fulfilled his promise. Haha, that's great. It seems that the commander is much stronger than we imagined. He doesn't even care about the position of the commander of the military palace. How unbelievable. Many people were puzzled. Of course, only the deputy commander knew that the commander was obsessed with martial arts and didn't want to care about these mundane matters. Therefore, before he went to the battlefield, he let the Black Orchid Legion take charge of the military palace. At the border of the 3 prefectures, there was a city. City of War. This was the place where the Carefree Army resupplied. Anyone who returned from the battlefield would receive the best service and resources. Of course, if they wanted to enter the battlefield, they had to register here. Whoosh. With a flash of white light, the teleportation formation opened. At this time, outside the teleportation formation, many higher-ups of the Carefree Army were welcoming him. Who is it? Why are so many generals welcoming him? Could it be that the new commander is here to inspect? Maybe it's Duke Carefree. Everyone was making their own guesses. When Fang Chen walked out of the teleportation formation, many generals bowed. Welcome, Commander. Their voices shook the sky, shocking all the onlookers. However, after the shock, they couldn't believe it. After all, Fang Chen was too young. Such a young commander was simply unimaginable. Commander, you are busy every day. Why don't you go back to your residence and rest? An old general said with a smile. Fang Chen shook his head. There's no need. He expressed his intention to enter the battlefield to hone himself. No. Commander, you are the commander of the Carefree Army and the head of the entire military palace. The battlefield is too dangerous. If anything happens to you, the Carefree Army will definitely be in chaos. Please reconsider. Many generals tried to dissuade him. What kind of joke was this? It was too risky to let the head of an army personally enter the battlefield. So what if I'm the commander? What's the difference between me and the people fighting on the front lines? If even I am afraid of the battlefield, what right do I have to send my generals to their deaths? Fang Chen said. As soon as he said this, everyone around him applauded. Even the generals were stunned. Then, a grey-robed elder walked out of the crowd. He was the carefree army's god of war and also the general in charge of the front lines. He was unyielding and hated those who hid in the back and pointed fingers. He originally thought that the new commander was no exception. However, after seeing him today, he was quite touched. Lord Commander, we are extremely touched by your generosity. The grey-robed elder said, Commander, going to the battlefield personally may be dangerous, but you can see that there are no cowards in the carefree army. As long as we work together, we can definitely defeat Tianyu Prefecture and Wise King Prefecture. In the City of War, the roars shook the sky. Unknowingly, Fang Chen had already captured the hearts of the people. Everyone was supporting him. At the entrance of the battlefield. Commander, you must be careful when you enter the battlefield. The grey-robed general reminded him, once people know your identity, they will kill you at all costs. Don't worry, I know what to do. As soon as he said this, the entrance to the battlefield opened. Fang Chen walked in casually. Seeing the entrance slowly closing, everyone sighed. After a long while, the grey-robed general's eyes swept across everyone and said sternly, You are not allowed to say a word about what happened today, or your entire family will be implicated. This was a serious matter and they had to be careful. In a dark corner, a man wearing a bamboo hat sneered. What an idiot. He was a spy from Tianyu Prefecture who sneaked into the City of War to obtain information for Tianyu Prefecture. How can we not share such important information with Wise King Prefecture? He could almost see the scene of the commander of the carefree army being hunted down by Wise King Prefecture and Tianyu Prefecture. Although the three prefectures' continent was big, it was easy for the two forces to find someone. He could only say, The commander of the carefree army was too young. If we kill you, the carefree army will be leaderless and their morale will be shaken. When the two forces join forces, we will definitely be able to deal a heavy blow to Carefree Prefecture. Thinking of this, the man in the bamboo hat smiled eerily. Without a sound, he disappeared into the darkness. Chapter 3658. The Three Prefectures Continent. Fang Chen surveyed his surroundings and discovered that he had appeared in a barren desert. Rustle, rustle, rustle. He could vaguely hear the sound of sand moving in the desert. Looking up, the sun was high up in the sky and the entire sky was a desert. There was no water in the desert at all, not even a bit of greenery. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Fang Chen felt that the soles of his feet were about to melt. This is the battlefield of the Three Prefectures Continent. It was different from what he imagined. He thought that the Three Prefectures Continent would be filled with smoke and battle everywhere. Records of the Three Prefectures Continent appeared in his mind. He clearly remembered that although the Three Prefectures Continent wasn't big, it had three areas that corresponded to the three major forces. Where he was now should be within the sphere of influence of the Carefree Palace. Who is it? Suddenly, a voice sounded. Fang Chen turned his head and found that the person was wearing the uniform of the Carefree Army. He sighed in relief. It wasn't an enemy, it was an ally. Ally. As expected, after seeing Fang Chen, the person also sighed in relief. He quickly approached Fang Chen and reminded him, Brother, are you new here? Fang Chen nodded. The person had already arrived in front of Fang Chen and said in a deep voice, The Three Prefectures Continent is the battlefield of the three major forces. You can encounter enemies here at any time. Everyone's thought was that they wouldn't encounter enemies in the Carefree Army's area. However, this was the most dangerous thought. After hearing the person's words, Fang Chen nodded. Sometimes, some of the top experts of the other two major forces will secretly come to our area and assassinate our people. The person continued. Of course, there's one more thing you need to know. What? Fang Chen was a bit confused and asked. Being an ally doesn't mean you're safe. After saying that, a sharp dagger appeared in the person's hand. Rip. Before Fang Chen could react, the dagger cut through Fang Chen's stomach. Bang! At the same time, the person punched Fang Chen in the chest and sent him flying. Like me. After doing all this, He held the blood-stained dagger in his hand and stared fiercely at Fang Chen, his face full of disdain. A new recruit like you won't even last a day in the 3 prefectures continent. He walked step by step towards Fang Chen. Originally, I would disdain to make a move on someone like you. But unfortunately, every new recruit has a merit medal on them. The merit medal recorded a martial artist's performance on the battlefield. Every time he killed an enemy, his medal would gain a sliver of energy. The more energy he had, the higher his contribution points, and the more benefits he could enjoy. Because of the policy of protecting new recruits, every new martial artist was given 100 merit points. It was precisely because of these 100 contribution points that he decided to act against his fellow compatriots. Just because of a mere 100 merit points, you can forget your original intention of joining the Carefree Army? Fang Chen got up from the ground and asked coldly, "Hehe, what is the original intention?" The person sneered. "As long as I have enough merit points, I can exchange them for countless cultivation resources. By then, my strength will become stronger, forming a virtuous cycle. Moreover, even if I kill you, who will know? On such a huge battlefield, there were people dying every day. Who would care about a new recruit? No wonder the Carefree Army couldn't fight against the other 2 forces. It's because of a black sheep like you," Fang Chen said. "Kid, since you already know, you can die now." After saying that, he continued to attack Fang Chen. However, what he didn't expect was that, in his eyes, Fang Chen, who was about to die, didn't surrender. Instead, he was resisting. It's useless. His dagger had already pierced through the sky. Boom! A deafening sound resounded through the sky. After the dust settled, Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back. The previous person was lying in a pool of blood. His internal organs were shattered, his cultivation was destroyed, and he became a cripple. "I forgot to introduce myself." Fang Chen grinned. "My name is Lin Chen, the new commander of the Carefree Army." "What?" The person was dumbfounded and couldn't believe it. "There's something you said that I agree with." Fang Chen walked in front of him. "For people like you, no one will know even if you die." Poochie. Fang Chen smashed his head with a palm. Facing such a treacherous person who coveted power, death was nothing to be regretted. Fang Chen picked up his merit medal and checked it. He was stunned. 100,000 merit points. How many new recruits did he have to kill to get this? Fang Chen secretly decided to reorganize the Carefree Army. However, what he needed to do now was to kill the enemy. He was the commander. Once he went to the gathering point of the Carefree Army, he would definitely be known. Instead of that, he might as well take drastic measures. He made the decision in an instant. Swoosh! His figure flashed, disappearing into the void. Not long after, he arrived at the intersection of the 3 territories and quietly sneaked into the Tianyu Prefecture's territory. As soon as he arrived, he found someone from the Tianyu Prefecture. He was a 4th-level Saint Emperor martial artist. "Who is it?" The latter discovered him. Fang Chen killed him with lightning speed. After that, Fang Chen put on his clothes, disguised his aura, and changed his face. "Now, even the saints of the Tianyu Prefecture wouldn't be able to recognize me, right?" Fang Chen muttered to himself. Just like that, Fang Chen sneaked into the Tianyu Prefecture's territory and prepared to kill the enemy. At the same time, at the gathering point of the Tianyu Prefecture, everyone received the news and was discussing how to kill the commander of the Carefree Army. "This news is very important. Have you confirmed it?" "Yes, it's true. The new commander is a Saint King. This time, he sneaked into the 3 prefectures continent to train himself." The white-bearded old man laughed loudly. "The heavens are on my side. If we kill the new commander of the Carefree Army, they will be leaderless for a short period of time. That will be the day we attack. Sir, the news has also been sent to the Bright King residence. I believe they will also take action," the servant said. The white-bearded old man was in high spirits with a smile on his face. "Pass down my order. Kill the new commander of the Carefree Army at all costs." He waved his hand and a portrait of Fang Chen appeared in front of him. "But remember, don't make it public." Otherwise, if the carefree army finds out, they will definitely protect the commander and even secretly move him away. The white-bearded old man quickly gave out the order. The commander was the highest leader of the army. The carefree prefecture is really declining. They chose such a brainless commander who dares to enter the 3 prefectures' continent alone to train. The experts of the Tianyu prefecture were full of disdain. They seemed to be imagining the death of the commander of the carefree army. Chapter 3659. 3 Prefectures Continent. Tianyu Prefecture. The silver moon hung high in the sky. On a single-horned mountain, Fang Chen lit a pile of firewood. It had been 2 days since he came here, but he hadn't seen anyone from Tianyu Prefecture. How do I find them? Fang Chen was a little helpless. He disguised himself as someone from Tianyu Prefecture and wanted to kill them here, but in the end, he couldn't find anyone. Whoosh! At this moment, all of a sudden, a figure shot over from the darkness in the distant horizon. In an instant, he arrived at the top of the mountain. After seeing Fang Chen, the person frowned. He didn't know Fang Chen, but he saw his clothes. "Are you new here?" the person asked. Fang Chen nodded. The person's voice was a little strict. "Don't you know that you can't light a fire at night?" The fire in the dark was too obvious. It would attract the people from the other 2 forces hiding in Tianyu Prefecture. At that time, it would be very dangerous. "You don't know such basic things. I suspect that you are a spy from the other 2 forces." As soon as he finished speaking, the person took a step forward and came in front of Fang Chen. He grabbed Fang Chen's collar and said coldly, "Tell me, who are you?" "I'm a subordinate of Lord Liu." Fang Chen lied. "Lord Liu?" The person's eyes turned as if he was thinking. Fang Chen was stunned. It couldn't be so coincidental, right? He just randomly said a name, and this person happened to be in Tianyu Prefecture. Boom. He knew that this was his chance. Taking advantage of the fact that his opponent was still reacting, Fang Chen struck first to gain the upper hand. He punched out with a terrifying origin energy and instantly sent his opponent flying. The person finally reacted, but it was too late. Fang Chen didn't give him any chance and killed him with 1 blow. Then, he put away a piece of the skeleton. The merit points on his medal had also increased accordingly. "It's finally open." Fang Chen licked his lips. In any case, this was a good start. In the following days, Fang Chen was no longer alone. Every once in a while, he would run into someone from the Sky Moon Mansion. With a sneak attack, he could easily kill them. His invincible sword technique had already been refined to the point of perfection. Its power was limitless, and there were few Saint Kings who could match him. Half a month later, Fang Chen had already obtained 30 Saint Emperor skeletons. His actions were finally noticed by the Sky Moon Mansion. Inside the tent. "What's going on?" The person in charge sitting at the head of the table asked coldly. "Why are our people being killed repeatedly during this period of time?" Down below, everyone knew that spies from the other 2 forces had sneaked in. "My lord, could it be someone from the Bright King residence?" The carefree army could barely take care of themselves. Also, their commander had entered the battlefield. They were supposed to retreat and protect their commander. It was difficult for them to be distracted. Therefore, the Wise King residence was the most suspicious. "I've had a secret conversation with the Bright King Mansion. They've temporarily allied with us and won't attack us. Furthermore, they've promised me that their spies in the Tianyu Prefecture have all retreated." The leader sitting at the head of the table muttered. Then, the answer was self-evident. The people who had killed the Tianyu Prefecture were from the carefree army. Could it be the new commander? Suddenly, such a question came from the crowd. Immediately, everyone was stunned. The new commander. He was just a Saint King. He was already brave enough to enter the battlefield. Could it be that he dared to sneak into the Tianyu Prefecture? Many people didn't believe it. However, the leader sitting at the head of the table was a little hesitant. "I've investigated the new commander of the carefree army. He stood out from the crowd after many rounds of selection and was finally appointed as the commander," the leader said. Most importantly, Fang Chen had defeated Yi Long in a head-on battle. Even the demonic mountain Venerable had personally come forward to take him as his last disciple. One could only imagine how strong his potential was. Of course, what really made the leader hesitate was that the demonic mountain Venerable had personally said that Fang Chen's strength was not weaker than Xiao his. What did this mean? It meant, although Fang Chen was a saint king, he could fight above his level. If that's the case, can't we close the door and beat the dog? Everyone discussed for a while and finally came to a unanimous decision. Whether the person in the dark was the new commander or not, they had to act immediately. Pass down my order. From today onwards, the Tianyu army will retreat completely. Guard this area tightly and don't let a fly escape. Close the door and beat the dog. Seal off this area and then dig 3 feet underground to find the person. If he was the commander of the carefree army, then they could get rid of him effortlessly. Fang Chen was a little confused. In the first half of the month, he had killed 30 people from the Tianyu army. However, after more than 10 days, he hadn't met a single person. What's going on? Fang Chen frowned. Could it be that his actions had attracted the attention of the Tianyu army? Fang Chen shook his head. No matter what, he had to be careful. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Fang Chen heard a strange sound. Puzzled, he continued forward. Not long after, he arrived at a dense forest. Hey! He spread out his divine sense and soon discovered a dilapidated city in the middle of the forest. The city was beyond recognition. Even the main building had been reduced to dust. Only the broken walls around it proved that it had really existed. When Fang Chen arrived in front of the city, his expression changed drastically. He was shocked to find that the perfect bloodline in his body was acting strangely and wanted to break out of his body. What's going on? Fang Chen exclaimed and took a few steps back. However, it was too late. The perfect bloodline emerged from his body and resonated with the broken city, activating an ancient formation and sucking him in. Buzz. After Fang Chen disappeared, the broken city gradually returned to normal. The ancient formation disappeared instantly. Peace was restored between heaven and earth. It was as if the ancient city had never appeared in the forest. 100 miles to the west of the forest. Strange. Just now, I felt an aura that didn't belong to the Tianyu mansion. A man in black armor frowned. That aura seemed to restrain the blood in his body. Did you feel it too? The other man was also surprised. At that moment, he felt as if his blood had frozen. However, it recovered in the blink of an eye. That aura seems to have come from 100 miles away. The two men looked at each other and then quickly rushed toward the forest. Could it be the commander of the carefree army? The two men were excited and flew quickly. However, they didn't notice that the blood in their bodies had become a little turbid. The turbidity quickly spread and filled their bodies. Their vitality was also quietly flowing away. Woo woo woo. There seemed to be a gloomy and terrifying sound in the breeze. It seemed to be talking. Chapter 3660. In the formation whirlpool. Fang Chen felt that his body was completely out of control. His blood was in chaos, and his perfect bloodline could not suppress it at all. It broke out of his body and resonated with the formation whirlpool. Fang Chen was in great pain in the whirlpool. He desperately wanted to break free, but the pressure on his body was too heavy, and he could not do anything. The only thing that comforted him was, after the perfect bloodline broke out of his body, part of it merged into the formation whirlpool, and the other part formed a rain shield around him. Dong. After some time, a heavy sound rang out. Fang Chen grimaced as pain swept through his body. He opened his eyes and hurriedly looked around. He found that it was pitch black here, and there were hard walls all around. However, the perfect bloodline in his body became even more restless. What's going on? Fang Chen frowned, somewhat anxious. Once the perfect bloodline was exposed, he would definitely be hunted down by all the devouring demons in the origin world, and even the patriarch would be alerted. If that happened, the consequences would be unimaginable. Go back! He shouted, trying to suppress the perfect bloodline. Buzz! Suddenly, a ripple spread out from the darkness, and then Fang Chen saw a trace of scarlet. In the darkness, the scarlet was extremely dazzling. Fang Chen's body trembled slightly. He could not control his body, and there was a drop of blood that seemed to have existed since ancient times. Whoosh! Fang Chen's figure flashed, and he arrived at the scarlet spot. Chaos Realm blood? Fang Chen shook his head hard and looked at the blood seriously. There was a layer of restriction around the drop of blood. It could be seen that it had been baptized by countless years, but it still had not condensed. Could it be that someone has come to the origin world before? Many memories appeared in Fang Chen's mind. The great sovereign had once said that countless years ago, there were many ancestors of the Chaos Realm who did everything they could to stop the rise of the origin world. They did not hesitate to sneak into the origin world, wanting to destroy their plans. But in the end, they all disappeared in the long river of history. This drop of blood was very likely left behind by a Chaos Realm ancestor. Wang. As soon as the aura of the perfect bloodline came into contact with the droplet of blood, the latter immediately underwent a change. Its scarlet color vanished, and in its place was a brilliant golden glow. It even illuminated the entire underground. As expected, Fang Chen opened his palm. The golden blood floated into the air and landed in his palm. Suddenly, a familiar aura could be felt. This kind of aura was unique to the Chaos Realm. I wonder which Almighty's blood is this? Fang Chen muttered to himself. Hiss hiss hiss. The golden blood flowed into his body through his palm and fused with the perfect blood. Wang. At this time, Fang Chen was shocked to find that the golden blood was erupting with a shocking power. This kind of power was above that of the invincible saints. It was the legendary power of chaos. Could it be? He almost subconsciously called out. Who else could it be other than Supreme Fu Jian? Could it be that Supreme Fu Jian was still alive? Suddenly, Fang Chen's mind trembled. Then, he sat cross-legged on the ground and put his palms together to adjust his blood flow. However, the perfect blood seemed to be led by the golden blood uncontrollably. In the outside world, 2 soldiers from the Sky Moon Army were searching in the forest. The aura just now came from here. One of them said. The other nodded as he stared at the broken city wall. Could it be that this used to be the ruins of a powerful sect? The 2 of them looked at each other with a hint of lust in their eyes. Let's go in and take a look. The 2 of them entered the broken city wall together. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. All of a sudden, something strange happened. Yellow sand filled the air around the broken city wall, and the wall slowly closed. The 2 of them were shocked and quickly retreated. Unfortunately, it was too late. Whoosh! Sharp sword chi crisscrossed and wreaked havoc in the broken city wall. Oh no! The 2 of them shouted and used all their strength to block the sword chi. My blood seems to be drying up. The other person was also a little frightened. Damn it, why is the power of our blood being suppressed? In the yellow sand, their blood was drying up at a speed that was invisible to the naked eye. Call for help. The 2 of them took out their communication jade pendants and wanted to ask for help. Poochie. A cold light flashed and blood splattered everywhere. Miserable screams were heard. Their palms were cut off and fell to the ground. Someone's there. At this moment, the 2 of them realized that there was a figure in the yellow sand. Who are you? The 2 of them panicked and their hearts were filled with fear. The person who killed you. Without saying a word, Fang Chen used the invincible sword technique. The 2 of them were unable to resist at all and were instantly killed. After that, Fang Chen put away the 2 skeletons and disappeared into the void. One day later, Fang Chen stopped in front of a mountain stream. So powerful. Feeling the strengthening of his blood, Fang Chen could not help but sigh. Although he didn't know which powerhouse had left behind that drop of golden blood, he didn't know. He was sure that this person was from the chaotic realm. Moreover, he was an expert who stood at the peak of the martial path. For the chaotic realm, he did not hesitate to sacrifice his life. Is it Supreme Fu Jian? After absorbing the blood, Fang Chen felt that his perfect blood had become stronger. Moreover, his body had undergone a complete transformation. His body had become stronger, and his primordial spirit had also undergone a qualitative leap. He had even stepped into the Saint Emperor realm in one go. This trip could be described as a great harvest. Fang Chen had been guessing if the owner of the golden blood was the legendary supreme Fu Jian of the chaotic realm. However, there was no clue to prove it. I have a feeling that Supreme Fu Jian might not have died. Fang Chen muttered to himself. After experiencing this, he vaguely had such a mysterious feeling. After a long time, Fang Chen stopped thinking about it. Currently, he was in the Three Prefectures continent and had to be vigilant at all times. Moreover, he had not collected enough bones of his enemies. He had to continue collecting them. I'll rest for a night and continue. At the edge of the Sky Moon Army, crack, a gap suddenly appeared in one of the wind walls. Then, one figure after another passed through it. The head of the commander of the Freedom Army is ours. Even our ally, the Sky Moon Army, cannot stop us, the leader said. However, this is the Sky Moon Army's territory after all. We still have to be careful. Once we succeed, retreat immediately. The leader did not forget to remind everyone. It would be best if they could capture him alive. The commander of an army was invaluable to the wise king residents. Don't worry, Lord. He's just a saint king. We can capture him effortlessly. Everyone was confident. However, Chapter 3661. Currently, the three prefectures were filled with smoke. Since Fang Chen's arrival, the Sky Moon Army and the Wise King Army had both launched an attack to take his head. As for the Carefree Army, they had no idea that their commander had entered the battlefield. Nor did they know that their commander had sneaked into the Sky Moon Army's territory. Otherwise, they would have taken action. After going around in circles, they had been on the battlefield for 3 months. During this time, Fang Chen had killed 80 Saint Emperors, 50 of whom were from the Sky Moon Army and the remaining 30 from the Wise King Army. Since absorbing the blood left behind by the ancient sage of the chaotic realm, Fang Chen clearly felt that his strength had increased significantly. Not only had his cultivation level increased to the 4th level Saint Emperor realm, but his primordial spirit had also recovered to the level of condensing a golden core. His strength had been fully unleashed. He was almost invincible under the Saint Emperor realm. As a result, even though the armies of the 2 major powers were surrounding and suppressing him, he was able to calmly escape and even counterattack. In a mountain range. What is going on? The commander of the Wise King Army looked gloomy. They had only infiltrated the Sky Moon Prefecture for a short period of time, but they had already lost more than 30 Saint Emperors. This was a great loss to them. If they did not kill the commander of the Carefree Army, he would not be able to explain himself when he returned. Sir, could it be that the Sky Moon Army and the Carefree Army have joined forces to set us up? Someone raised an objection. Because, not long ago, they had met the Sky Moon Army who were searching for the new commander of the Carefree Army. They had recognized them, but they did not say anything and immediately surrounded them. They had even sent the news back to the Sky Moon Army camp. As a result, they had to evade the Sky Moon Army's encirclement. Not necessarily. Maybe the Sky Moon Army is just afraid that we will capture the commander of the Carefree Army first. Someone else had a different opinion. No matter what, the current situation was very unfavorable for the Wise King Army. Have you found Lin Chen's whereabouts? The commander of the Wise King Army asked. Our people have already tried their best to find him, but Lin Chen seems to have disappeared from the world. There are no clues. Everyone was helpless. Report. At this moment, a person rushed back. He looked anxious, as if something big had happened. Sir, there's a new clue. The man panted. Speak, the person in charge of the Ming King Army said. Not long ago, we discovered that a large number of troops from the Heavenly Moon Army were gathering in a certain direction. The man paused for a moment before continuing. We suspect that they might have found Lin Chen's location. As soon as he said this, the eyes of the Wise King Army lit up. Set out immediately and follow behind the Sky Moon Army. Don't alert them. When the time is right, capture Lin Chen and return immediately. The person in charge of the Ming King Army immediately gave the order. The members of the Bright King's army, who were hiding in various places, began to gather and tailed behind the Heavenly Moon Army. Chaos Sword Forest. Standing outside the chaotic sword forest, Fang Chen could feel waves of powerful sword intent assaulting him. What a powerful sword intent! Fang Chen muttered to himself. He was in high spirits. He took a step forward and entered the forest of swords. Whoosh! In an instant, countless sword lights burst out from the chaotic sword forest, crisscrossing together and shooting towards Fang Chen. Invincible sword technique. Fang Chen's wrist shook, and a long sword released a terrifying cold light. With a thought, he slashed out. The chaotic sword forest was an extremely magical place. It contained natural sword intent, and many sword intents gathered together to form the chaotic sword forest. Fang Chen had accidentally stumbled upon this place, thus he had decided to use the sword intent in the Chaos Sword Woods to refine his undefeatable sword art. The long sword in his hand was naturally a trophy obtained from this place. Although it was not as good as the Hidden Star Sword, it could at least be used to make up the numbers for a short period of time. Whoosh! He swung his sword again and again. There was an endless stream of sword will within the long sword that shot out in all directions. Fang Chen was in the chaotic sword forest, and he could feel the vast sword intent sweeping towards him. It was as if he was in a world of sword intent. He closed his eyes and felt the trajectory of the sword intent. At the same time, his body was surrounded by an extremely terrifying sword intent. This was the invincible sword intent. Before his reincarnation, Fang Chen had an epiphany and raised his invincible sword technique to a higher level. Now, he wanted to use the sword intent in the chaotic sword forest to fully activate his invincible sword technique, so that his sword technique could reach a new level. When the Sky Moon army arrived at the chaotic sword forest, they were shocked. The chaotic sword forest was now surrounded by dense sword chi, and no one could see what was going on inside. Whoosh! Under the command of the commander, the army surrounded the chaotic sword forest. "Are you sure?" the commander of the Sky Moon army asked. A general beside him whispered, "I saw Lin Chen walking towards the chaotic sword forest with my own eyes. The strange phenomenon here must be caused by Lin Chen. Sir, should we charge in?" Some of the radicals wanted to charge in directly, but they were stopped by the commander of the Sky Moon army. He waved his hand and said, "The chaotic sword forest contains the sword intent of the heavens. If you are not careful, you will be severely injured. Now that such a strange phenomenon has occurred here, we must not act rashly. But, what if Lin Chen obtains some powerful sword technique inheritance and becomes stronger?" The general was anxious. So what if he becomes stronger? That's right. He is weak to begin with. Even if he becomes stronger, he will definitely die in the face of the Sky Moon army. Just as they were talking, the commander of the Sky Moon army noticed the Wise King army. "Sir, it's the Wise King army." Knowing that their identities had been exposed, the Wise King army no longer hid and showed themselves. The commander of the Wise King army walked forward and greeted the commander of the Sky Moon army with a smile. "Brother Chu, how have you been? What are you doing here?" the commander of the Sky Moon army asked coldly. Although the Sky Moon Prefecture and the Wise King Prefecture were allies, it was built on the basis that they fought against the Carefree Prefecture together. Other than that, they had nothing to do with each other. "Of course I'm here to lend you a hand, Brother Chu." The commander of the Wise King army smiled and said, "I heard that the new commander of the Carefree Prefecture is very powerful. I'm worried that Brother Chu can't handle it, so I came to help you." The Sky Moon army curled their lips. How could he say such words to appease a child in such a dignified manner? The Sky Moon army is enough to deal with the commander of the Carefree Prefecture. "Please go back," the commander of the Sky Moon army said expressionlessly. How could he not know the intentions of the Wise King army? They wanted nothing more than to capture the commander of the Carefree Prefecture and use it to threaten the Carefree Prefecture in exchange for more benefits. However, after all, this was the territory of the Sky Moon army. Chapter 3662. In the past, Fang Chen believed that there were a total of 3 realms in Sword Dao. The first realm was Soaring Sword Intent. The second realm was Connecting with Sword Intent. The third realm was Materialization of Sword Intent. These 3 realms included all Sword Dao cultivators and the Sword Dao cultivation system. It was easy to reach the first realm of Sword Dao, as long as one had a little talent and cultivated diligently. The second realm troubled countless Sword Dao cultivators. Once this realm was cultivated, one could basically dominate the sword world. As for the third realm, in the entire chaotic realm, only Supreme Fu Jian had reached it. As for himself, he had barely touched the threshold of the third realm. However, now, comprehending Sword Dao in the chaotic sword forest, Fang Chen's mind was filled with dazzling sword light. Sword intent was rampant on his body, giving off an extremely terrifying feeling. Dong dong dong. Sword intent roared in his body. The long sword in front of him was inserted into the ground, making a sword sound as if it was responding to Fang Chen. Whoosh. He suddenly opened his eyes, and a terrifying sword chi shot out from his eyes, straight into the clouds. I see. Fang Chen muttered to himself. In his previous life, no matter how hard he cultivated, he could not reach the peak of Sword Dao. Now, by chance, he finally broke through the bottleneck and truly entered the third realm of Sword Dao. Swoosh. With a flick of his finger, dense sword chi instantly filled the void and then condensed into a huge sword shadow under Fang Chen's control. At the same time, invincible sword intent shrouded the sword shadow and pressed down on the ground. At this moment, Fang Chen's invincible Sword Dao had reached another threshold. His swordsmanship was filled with killing power. At the same time, he also knew that there was a legendary fourth realm above the third realm of Sword Dao. Perhaps only the legendary Supreme Fu Jian had set foot in this place. In the world, there were very few people who could reach the third realm of Sword Dao, even in the origin world. Not to mention the chaotic realm. Huff. Fang Chen exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. He withdrew his sword intent and slowly got up. I didn't expect to gain so much. Fang Chen sighed. He turned around and stared at the chaos sword forest with his dark eyes. After attaining the third level of the Sword Dao, the formations condensed from sword intent in the chaotic sword forest could no longer pose any threat to him. Every single movement of his could cause the sword intent formation to shake. He could sense that the devouring demon clan was approaching from outside the chaos sword forest. Are they here? Fang Chen muttered to himself as he looked into the distance. His comprehension of the way of the sword in the chaotic sword forest had caused a huge commotion. The Sky Moon Army and the Wise King Army must have discovered this place long ago. That's fine. Let me see how strong I really am. Fang Chen muttered to himself as he pulled out his sword from the ground and walked out of the chaotic sword forest. At this moment, outside the chaotic sword forest, because they were fighting over Lin Chen, both sides started fighting. You people from the Wise King Army are really shameless. You've already violated the rules of our alliance by entering the territory of the Sky Moon Prefecture as you please. Yet, you still dare to boast shamelessly about snatching people from us. H, do you really think the Sky Moon Army is a bunch of weaklings? Since you want to fight, let's fight. The Sky Moon Army was eager to give it a try. After all, this was the battlefield of the Sky Moon Army and they had the absolute advantage. In terms of manpower, they were many times more powerful than the Wise King Army. Therefore, once a battle broke out, they could completely crush the Wise King Army. The Wise King Army seemed to have realized this as well. The person in charge frowned. The battle was about to break out. The people in charge of both sides faced each other. Kill. Someone in the crowd shouted. Suddenly, a large-scale battle broke out between the two sides. Poochie. The people in charge of both sides attacked first. Every time they attacked, they would kill one person from the other side. Your opponent is me. The two of them did not allow their own people to die, so they took the initiative to attack each other. In the chaotic battle, countless people fell into pools of blood. Hiss. The blood gathered into a river and flowed continuously into the chaotic sword forest. Fang Chen, who was walking out, felt that the ground under his feet was wet. He looked down and realized that the river of blood was flowing in from the outside. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly realized that when the blood came into contact with him, it quickly entered his body. What's going on? Fang Chen exclaimed. But soon, he understood. The perfect bloodline was absorbing the blood. Although most of them did not have the pure demon-devouring bloodline, they at least had a trace of it. Even a trace of it would be very beneficial to the perfect bloodline. Suck it. Fang Chen took the initiative to absorb the blood, and the blood continued to enter his body. He hid the perfect bloodline and happily absorbed the blood of the war. At the same time, Fang Chen's powerful divine consciousness was also observing the situation on the battlefield. Currently, the Wise King army was at a disadvantage. Other than the person in charge, the entire army was defeated. If the Sky Moon army was given more time, the Wise King army would definitely be wiped out. On the other hand, the person in charge of the Sky Moon army had reached the terrifying level of a sage. If I attack with all my strength and use the invincible sword technique, I should be able to kill him. Fang Chen thought to himself. Since he started cultivating again, his cultivation level had reached the 4th level of the Holy Emperor realm. But because of the enlightenment of the invincible sword technique in the Chaos Sword Forest, his strength had skyrocketed. He was invincible among the Holy Emperors. The person in charge of the Sky Moon army was a 7th level sage. In other words, he was the weakest sage. Fang Chen was confident that he could defeat such a warrior. Let them fight for now. Fang Chen sneered. Even if the person in charge of the Wise King army was no match for him, he would definitely use a forbidden secret skill to force the person in charge of the Sky Moon army to retreat. It would be best if both sides were injured, and then he would reap the benefits. Kill. Sounds of killing could be heard from the battlefield. Everyone was in a frenzy. They had long forgotten the purpose of this trip, which was to capture the commander of the Carefree army. Kill the Wise King army. These bastards dare to be so presumptuous in our territory. They are courting death. They can't hold on any longer. Kill them. The person in charge of the Wise King army was severely injured, and the Sky Moon army's morale was greatly boosted. The Wise King army was losing ground. Sir! Someone shouted anxiously. At the same time, his figure flashed and caught the person in charge of the Wise King army. Retreat. If we don't retreat, we will all be annihilated. The person in charge of the Wise King army's face was extremely gloomy. He glared at the person in charge of the Sky Moon army. You will regret killing the people of the Wise King army. A declaration of war? The person in charge of the Sky Moon army sneered. Is the Sky Moon prefecture afraid of you? Let's go. The person in charge of the Wise King army took out a round ball and quickly threw it toward the Sky Moon army. Boom. The round ball exploded in the void, and a terrifying force swept across the land. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the remaining people of the Wise King army quickly fled. You are fighting for me. If I don't show up, won't it be impolite? Chapter 3663. Kill them all. Don't let any of them escape. The commander of the Sky Moon army shouted. He waved his hand and dust flew into the air. A terrifying aura swept across the land. He stomped his foot and dashed into the distance. When the Ming King army and the Sky Moon army fought because of Lin Chen, their alliance had been broken. Since they were not allies, they were enemies. How could they miss such a good opportunity to kill the enemy? As the morale of the Sky Moon army rose, everyone chased after the enemy with murderous intent. Of course. When the Ming King army escaped, they threw out a ball that contained the power of a top sage. After it exploded, it killed many of the Sky Moon army soldiers. If the others had not dodged in time and the commander of the Ming King army had not reacted in time, the power of the ball would have been greatly reduced. The Sky Moon army would not have been able to withstand the power of a top sage. Kill. The sound of killing filled the air and the smell of blood filled the air. Everyone only had one thought in their minds, and that was to kill all the enemies. They had long forgotten their original intention of coming here and neglected the new commander of the Carefree army, Lin Chen. Whoosh. In the chaotic sword forest. Fang Chen walked out slowly with a long sword in his hand. Sword chi surrounded him. His straight body was like a giant sword that pierced through the clouds. It was a terrifying sight. It's so lively. Fang Chen grinned. He took a step forward and rushed into the crowd as fast as lightning. At this moment, everyone in the Heavenly Moon army focused their attention on the fleeing Wise King army soldiers. Fang Chen stabbed out with his sword and easily killed a person who was close to him. The battlefield was too chaotic. No one had realized that a god of death was attacking them from the very back. Slash. With another stab, a warrior from the Sky Moon army fell into a pool of blood. Just like that, after killing 5 people in a row, he was finally discovered. Who is it? A warrior from the Sky Moon army who was at the back was furious when he saw his comrade killed. His first thought was that this person was a spy from the Ming King army. But soon, he seemed to realize something. He looked up and realized that Fang Chen was surrounded by sword qi. It was too oppressive. He was shocked when he thought of the chaotic sword forest. Lin Chen, the commander-in-chief of the Carefree army? He glared at Lin Chen. Damned fellow. The man licked his dry lips and directly attacked Fang Chen. The way he saw it, he had already reached the 5th rank Holy Emperor realm. He could crush Lin Chen with absolute power. Too weak. However, what answered him was a sword. It's Lin Chen. The commander-in-chief of the Carefree army has shown up. Finally, the Heavenly Moon army began to boil. Everyone was shouting loudly. The person in charge of the Wise King army who was chasing at the front had also stopped. What? Bao Lan turned his head, his pitch-black eyes were filled with bloody killing intent. Humph, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Compared to the commander of the Freedom Army, the Wisdom King army was nothing. Poochie. While the Sky Moon army was in shock, Fang Chen did not stay idle. He displayed his invincible swordsmanship and slashed out again and again. Every sword strike would cause one of them to fall into a pool of blood. In just a few seconds, he had harvested more than 10 lives. You are courting death. At this moment, the person in charge of the Sky Moon army, Bao Lan, finally reacted. He stomped his feet and crawled forward with unparalleled power, appearing in front of Fang Chen. You are Lin Chen? The surrounding void was still. Only the anger of the Sky Moon army was still spreading. They surrounded Fang Chen, not giving him any chance to escape. Bao Lan, on the other hand, was confronting Fang Chen directly. Just now, he had also seen Fang Chen's strength. The 4th rank Holy Emperor realm was not worth mentioning in his eyes. Fang Chen nodded. After getting the affirmation, Bao Lan was even more furious. Humph, is there no one else in the Carefree mansion that can be used? Why would they choose such a weak guy to be the commander? One should know that the commander was the leader of an army. His position was so high that no one could compare to him. At the very least, one had to be a saint to be the commander. Bao Lan was just a person in charge, but he was already a 6th rank Holy Emperor. The Sky Moon army and the Carefree army had been fighting for countless years. Unexpectedly, the commander was getting worse with each generation. Carefree Duke is old. Bao Lan sneered. If that is the case, then just abdicate. Why do you have to occupy the Carefree mansion's territory and many resources? In the origin world, the forces were divided by mansions. Each mansion master had the strength of a top saint or even an invincible saint. Carefree Duke was no exception. Once, Carefree Duke had single-handedly defeated 9 invincible saints and became famous in one battle. Now, he had fallen to such a state. While Bao Lan was lamenting, he was also excited for the Sky Moon mansion. It would not be long before the Sky Moon army would be able to win the war and completely destroy the Carefree mansion. Fang Chen did not say anything. He looked around and confirmed the number of Sky Moon army. There were about 80 Sky Moon army here. Among them, 30 were Saint Kings and 50 were Holy Emperors. The strongest was Bao Lan, a 6th rank Holy Emperor. Fang Chen secretly calculated. Although his realm was not as high as Bao Lan's, he had the invincible sword technique and 2 origin powers. Moreover, his primordial spirit was much stronger than theirs. If he went all out, with the help of the formation, he should be able to capture them all. Thinking of this, a bold idea flashed through Fang Chen's mind. He had always been in the dark and ambushed the Sky Moon army. This time, why not face them head-on? As long as he killed Bao Lan, the strongest, the others would not be a threat at all. I have to say, with your strength, you dare to sneak into the Sky Moon army's area. Your courage is commendable. Bao Lan sneered. But in this world, the strong are respected. Courage often makes people reckless. The origin world was the world of the devouring demon clan. After countless generations, there were thousands of branches. Each branch was fighting for their own survival. Therefore, it was not surprising to see a life and death battle between two major forces in the origin world. One had to know. Only by killing the opponent could one obtain all of his resources. Thus, one's own force could reach a higher level. Everyone's ultimate goal was to be summoned by the devouring demon clan's patriarch. It was said, since ancient times, since the establishment of the origin world, the devouring demon clan's patriarch had only summoned 3 people. In the end, all 3 of them became the patriarch's personal disciples without exception. Their strength had also improved by leaps and bounds. They had all reached the invincible saint realm. There were even rumors. With the help of the devouring demon clan's patriarch, the 3 of them were very likely to step into the legendary chaotic supremacy realm together. This news sped up the killing in the origin world. Natural selection, survival of the fittest. This had always been the devouring demon clan's principle. Therefore, Bao Lan looked at Fang Chen. There was no pity in his eyes, only greed and anger. "You are about to die. What else do you have to say?" Bao Lan asked. Chapter 3664. Among the people present, only Bao Lan could pose a threat to him. However, it was only a little. After all, Bao Lan was only a 6th-level Holy Emperor. If he stepped into the 7th-level Holy Emperor realm, he might be in trouble. "I can test my invincible sword art." The invincible sword art was much more powerful than before. It was no longer the same as when he was in the chaotic realm. Bao Lan sneered and stomped his foot. The Sky Moon army retreated and surrounded Fang Chen, fearing that he would escape after being defeated. "Kid, you should be proud to die in my hands." As his voice fell, Bao Lan's thigh swept horizontally. Fang Chen did not take the attack head-on. Instead, he dodged Bao Lan's attack in a very agile way. Then, he slashed out with his sword. Invincible sword chi surrounded his body. The invincible sword art rushed out with an unstoppable momentum. Above Fang Chen's head, there were countless terrifying forces gathered. Among these forces, thunder rumbled and lightning crisscrossed. Pretending to be mysterious, Bao Lan stomped his foot and the ground trembled. He soared into the sky, wanting to crush Fang Chen's attack with absolute power and capture him. Unfortunately, his wishful thinking was wrong. The invincible sword art could be said to be the strongest sword art under the supreme sword art. This was the sword art that Fang Chen had recondensed after countless years of comprehension. This sword art, together with Fang Chen's invincible sword art, complemented each other and its power increased sharply. What was invincible? It needed to have an indomitable momentum. Although Fang Chen's cultivation realm was much higher than Bao Lan's, his aura was incomparable. However, the aura on his body was incomparable. Even Bao Lan, who was attacking, was startled when he sensed the terrifying aura. However, he quickly came back to his senses. "You can never make up for the gap in cultivation realm." Bao Lan admitted that Fang Chen's sword art was indeed exquisite. However, it was not enough for him to make up for the gap in cultivation realm. The outcome of this battle was already decided. Demon devouring hand. Dazzling sword lights crisscrossed in the sky, bringing with them an invincible sword will as they swooped down. At this moment, Bao Lan also executed his strongest skill perfectly. As soon as the demon devouring hand appeared, the world seemed to dim significantly. Demon devouring hand. It's actually the hand of devouring demon. I'm so lucky. After joining the Sky Moon army for so many years, this is the first time I've seen Lord Bao Lan use this technique. That's right. It is said that this secret skill was personally bestowed upon Lord Bao Lan by the commander of the Sky Moon army. In fact, the demon devouring hand was truly a very powerful technique. The strongest state of the demon devouring hand was known as the strongest under the supreme technique. However, it would be extremely difficult to fully utilize the secret technique and bring out its strongest form. At least, almost no one in the Tianyu prefecture could do that. Just because This secret technique was closely related to the demon-devouring bloodline. The purer the demon-devouring bloodline, the more powerful it would be. Bao Lan had a thin trace of the demon-devouring bloodline in his body. It was already good enough that he could barely use it. Fang Chen naturally noticed this as well. "What a pity," he whispered. His figure transformed into thousands of afterimages that appeared around Bao Lan. It made people dazed and unable to find the real body. "A sword against the heavens." Fang Chen bellowed. "I have a sword that can go against the heavens and earth." This was the essence of the invincible sword technique. One could only see. The long sword in Fang Chen's hand was constantly spinning and piercing towards Bao Lan's demon-devouring hand at an unimaginably tricky angle. Catcher. The demon-devouring hand and the long sword made contact and instantly spewed out a black mist. This was the demon-devouring aura. It could corrode everything in the world. Hiss. Fang Chen's long sword was no exception. The sharp and overbearing sword light was instantly corroded. Everyone exclaimed. As expected of Lord Bao Lan. With such strength, who in the Saint Emperor realm can fight against him? The commander of the Carefree Mansion is too weak. He can't even defeat Lord Bao Lan. Ha ha ha, it's wonderful. Lord Bao Lan's demon-devouring hand is too shocking. Everyone in the Sky Moon army was mocking Fang Chen. In their view, Bao Lan had the absolute advantage on the battlefield. And Fang Chen did not have the strength to make a comeback. "I bet that Lord Bao Lan can defeat the commander of the Carefree army in 3 moves at most," someone suddenly said. Suddenly, everyone began to guess. 10 moves, I think there will be a result within 10 moves. In short, everyone agreed. The commander of the Carefree army will definitely lose. However, in Fang Chen's view, Bao Lan was not as powerful as he imagined. His demon-devouring bloodline is too thin, causing the demon-devouring hand to only exert 30% of its power. Fang Chen muttered to himself. And his invincible sword technique, after he recomprehended the invincible sword Dao and absorbed the blood left behind by the almighty sage of the chaotic realm, its power had skyrocketed. One's loss was another's gain. His sword technique could definitely suppress Bao Lan. Die! Bao Lan's eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent. He roared in anger and at the same time, continued to display the demon-devouring hand. Rumble. Every time they collided, Bao Lan's power consumption would increase. After 5 consecutive collisions, Bao Lan's demon-devouring hand was unable to crush Fang Chen's sword light. This scene caused many of the Sky Moon army soldiers to be puzzled. "Let's end this quickly." Only Bao Lan knew the flaw of the demon-devouring hand. And the power of Fang Chen's sword technique. Damn this guy, how could he obtain such an exquisite sword technique? Bao Lan's heart was filled with greed. He licked his dry lips and smiled eerily. "As long as I kill you, your sword technique will be mine." Bao Lan seemed to have thought that once he mastered this sword technique, he would sweep across the Saint Emperor realm and step into the Saint realm. He would be highly regarded by the commander and meet the Marquis of Sky Moon. Hee hee. Bao Lan let out a creepy laugh. He displayed the demon-devouring hand again. But this time, the power was stronger than before. "Burning your blood essence." Fang Chen sneered. He did not choose to fight with Bao Lan. Bao Lan was burning his blood essence, and in a short period of time, the power of the demon-devouring hand would skyrocket. There was no need to meet force with force. As long as he could hold on until the power of his blood essence dissipated. At that time, Bao Lan would have no room to fight back. Kill, kill, kill. Battle cries shook the heavens. Bao Lan's eyes were bloodshot as he sank into madness. Lord Bao Lan is angry. Previously, it was just a small test. Now, Lord Bao Lan is really angry. Just watch. Lord Bao Lan will crush the commander of the Carefree army with an absolute advantage. The Sky Moon army was cheering for Bao Lan to welcome the great victory that was about to come. However, little did they know, a great crisis was quietly approaching. Fang Chen held his sword and used the sword will of the heavens as a guide to set up one after another array formation. Although the array formation could not withstand Bao Lan's attack and was shattered with one hit. But it also consumed Bao Lan's time. Obviously, Bao Lan could not wait. Chapter 3665. The blood essence in Bao Lan's body was burning too fast. He could clearly feel that his power was no longer rising. It would not take long before it continued to weaken. Therefore, he had to end the battle quickly and suppress the commander of the carefree army. Otherwise, once the opponent noticed that his combat power had decreased, he would be in danger. Your strength is beyond my imagination. Bao Lan smashed all the arrays with one punch and faced Fang Chen directly. However, he smiled coldly. However, the battle should end soon. Your realm is still too low. No matter how exquisite your swordsmanship is, it can't make up for the gap between realms. Bao Lan roared and once again used the demon-devouring hand. This time, the terrifying demon-devouring aura kept spinning in the void, forming a terrifying vortex. Within the vortex, a majestic palm was rapidly taking shape. Demon-devouring hand. Bao Lan roared. This time, he poured all his power into the demon-devouring hand. Its power increased by at least 30%, and there was the additional power from burning his blood essence. He believed that even if he faced a 7th-level saint, he would not be afraid. Die! He controlled the demon-devouring hand, carrying endless power, and covered Fang Chen. Around the battlefield, the Sky Moon army was cheering. They seemed to have seen the scene of the commander of the carefree army being killed. Mph, a mere 4th-level Saint Emperor, how can he compare to Lord Bao Lan? That's right, this kind of trash can actually become the commander of the carefree army, what a joke. I'm very curious to know how the Free Yarrow army will react if they learn that the commander that their Marquis personally appointed has been killed by Lord Bao Lan. Everyone burst into laughter. It was as if the war was not worth mentioning in their eyes. A desperate attack. Fang Chen murmured. He naturally felt Bao Lan's strong killing intent and the terrifying demon-devouring aura in the void vortex. However, none of this mattered. Although the demon-devouring hand is strong, you did not use all of its power. On the contrary, because the demon-devouring bloodline was too thin, when Bao Lan used the demon-devouring hand, it was almost forced, and it consumed too much of his power. This kind of consumption would even cause a backlash. Therefore, from Fang Chen's point of view, this was actually a secret technique that hurt oneself first before hurting others. Dong dong dong. The demon-swallowing hand swooped down, and the clear sky was instantly shaken by the dark clouds. Heaven and earth were in turmoil. Everyone's attention was drawn to the demon-devouring hand. Invincible sword technique. This time, Fang Chen did not use his movement technique to dodge, but chose to take it head-on. Only by taking it head-on would he be able to accelerate the backlash and severely injure Bao Lan. Invincible sword technique, massacre. This was the sword with the densest killing aura after recomprehending it. This sword was known as the Sword of Slaughter. Moreover, it was the most powerful attack in the invincible sword technique. Whoosh! Fang Chen gripped his sword and slashed out fiercely. In an instant. In the void, the sword will of the heavens condensed into a magnificent sword shadow that was tens of thousands of feet long. Under Fang Chen's control, the sword shadow stabbed viciously at the demon-devouring hand. Catcher! The demon-devouring hand grabbed the sword shadow. Bao Lan sneered, "It's useless. In front of my demon-devouring hand, you're just a clown." In this regard, Fang Chen did not think much of it. He pointed at Bao Lan's chest. The latter seemed to have realized something and suddenly looked down. "Huh!" Bao Lan exclaimed, his mind in turmoil. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the sword shadow suddenly expanded, releasing an invincible sword chi, forcibly tearing apart the demon-devouring hand and then blasted towards Bao Lan. At this time, Bao Lan suffered a strong backlash. The moment the demon-devouring hand was torn apart, Bao Lan's heart was filled with despair. No! Bao Lan roared in anger. He could not accept the reality. Damn it! Although he was furious, he only wanted to escape at this moment. Because he forcibly used the demon-devouring hand and burned his blood essence, it caused him to suffer a strong backlash and now he almost lost his combat strength. Bao Lan was very annoyed. The other party actually deceived him, causing his mind to be in turmoil. This gave the other party an opportunity. The day I recover will be the day you die. In the end, Bao Lan still gave up the battle and decisively withdrew from the battle, wanting to leave this place. However, Fang Chen was already prepared. How could he let him leave? Want to leave? Fang Chen smiled coldly. Using his sword as a guide, he slashed towards the void. Suddenly, a sword chi wind wall condensed on Bao Lan's escape route, blocking him. Bang! Caught off guard, Bao Lan's body directly crashed into the sword chi wind wall. Dong! After crashing to the ground, Bao Lan bared his teeth, but he had no time to care about this and immediately fled again. Buzz! At this time, Fang Chen's wrist shook, and a series of complicated runes shot out in all directions. Formation. As his soft voice spread out, the world was instantly shrouded by a huge formation. What's going on? This sudden turn of events caused many of the soldiers of the Heavenly Moon Army to be in a daze. They were still immersed in the joy of Bao Lan suppressing the commander of the carefree army. Why would such a change happen? How is this possible? Someone exclaimed. They rubbed their eyes hard, unable to believe that Lord Bao Lan, who used the devouring demon hand, actually fled in panic. What happened to Lord Bao Lan? Oh my God, did Lord Bao Lan lose? That guy defeated Lord Bao Lan? At this time, finally, someone reacted. They frantically fled. But it was too late. The formation had been completed, trapping all of them within. The faces of the Sky Moon Army, led by Bao Lan, were completely gloomy. Cough cough. At the forefront of the formation, Bao Lan coughed out blood. He frantically attacked the formation, but it was to no avail. Damn it, if not for the backlash from using the devouring demon hand, how could a mere formation trap me? Bao Lan roared in anger. But what greeted him was an invincible sword chi. Swoosh. Bao Lan desperately dodged, but the others were not so lucky. Those who were hit by the sword chi died. In the formation, sword chi lingered. Facing the devouring demon clan, Fang Chen did not have any mercy. He started a massacre. Not long after, those who were weak were almost wiped out. Lin Chen. At this time, standing in a pool of blood, Bao Lan, who was battered and exhausted, stared at Fang Chen. When two armies fight, envoys are not killed. Bao Lan said in a hoarse voice, "You killed so many of us, shouldn't you let me go?" Hee hee. Fang Chen chuckled. At this time, Bao Lan was actually naive enough to let him go. Let you go, and then wait for your Sky Moon Army to endlessly hunt you down? Fang Chen asked. You, Bao Lan said in a deep voice, this is the Sky Moon Army's territory. If you dare to kill us, it will definitely cause an ultimate war between the two mansions. At that time, your carefree palace will definitely be destroyed. Bao Lan shrugged. Chapter 3666. Fang Chen smiled sinisterly. If he was the one who was defeated, would the other party let him go? Needless to say, the Sky Moon Army would do everything they could to kill him. Once he was defeated, what awaited him was death. It was ridiculous. Bao Lan did not realize his situation and instead, he used the Sky Moon Prefecture to threaten him. Not killing the envoys in the war. It was simply ridiculous. He was just a person in charge. What qualifications did he have to bargain with Fang Chen? Seeing Fang Chen walking towards him with a sword, Bao Lan's face suddenly changed. He said coldly, "Are you really going to continue to be stubborn?" It was a dead end if he continued to walk forward. I advise you not to act rashly. In Bao Lan's view, this was the Sky Moon Army's territory. Once he and the Sky Moon Army entered, they would completely seal this place. At that time, Fang Chen would not be able to escape. If it was an ordinary person, they might consider the Sky Moon Prefecture. However, the person in front of him was Fang Chen. What did the war between the two prefectures have to do with him? He could not wait to destroy the devouring demon clan. Why would he care about such a war? Fang Chen did not say anything and continued to move forward. He raised his hand and the long sword in his hand shone with a dazzling light. Die! At this moment, Bao Lan knew that he was doomed. His face was ferocious as he roared in anger. He did not hesitate to destroy his source of energy and unleashed his final attack. In the blink of an eye, the entire world collapsed. Even if I die, I will drag you down with me. Bao Lan took advantage of the last bit of energy he had and rushed towards Fang Chen. Invincible sword technique. Unfortunately, Fang Chen was already prepared and slashed out with his sword. Poochie. Bao Lan's body was directly split into two halves. The terrifying power in the void also dissipated in an instant. At the same time, Fang Chen's mind moved and his body kept changing. In an instant, dense afterimages filled the entire formation space. After Bao Lan died, the Sky Moon army was leaderless. They fled in panic, but Fang Chen's strength was too strong. Sword chi was everywhere and miserable screams could be heard. Soon after, the hundreds of people brought by Bao Lan were completely annihilated. After Fang Chen finished collecting the Saint Emperor's bones, he quickly left this place. We shouldn't stay here for long. Fang Chen muttered to himself. It could be imagined that once the news reached the Sky Moon military camp, it would cause a great uproar. At that time, if the entire Sky Moon army was mobilized, there would be trouble. Hoo. A few days later, Fang Chen safely returned to the border of the three forces and then returned to the territory of the Carefree army. Meanwhile, in the Sky Moon military camp, there was a huge commotion. The news even reached the Tianyu prefecture. When the commander heard about it, he became even more furious and issued a kill order. Wage war against the Carefree army at all costs. Other than that, the Bright King residents had also made their stance clear, declaring war against the two major forces. In the tent of the Xiaoyaro army, the person in charge paced back and forth with a grave expression. The commander entered the battlefield, but we haven't been able to find him. The person in charge had an ominous feeling. He clenched his fists, his expression cold. According to the news from the military palace, the new commander was personally appointed by Duke Xiaoyaro and was not very strong. After entering the battlefield, there was no trace of him. There were only two possibilities. First, the commander was killed by the spies of the other two forces as soon as he entered. Second, the commander sneaked into the territory of the other two forces. Sir, we can't go on like this. A white-haired elder muttered. Yes, if the commander is captured or killed by the other two forces, it will be a huge blow to our morale. Moreover, the military palace is pressuring us. If we can't even protect the commander, we will definitely be held accountable. At this stage, they had too many things to do. However, the most important thing was to find the commander. I feel that the commander should still be in our area. One of them carefully analyzed. The commander's strength should be between the Saint King and Saint Emperor level, but in terms of combat strength, he can fight against a 5th level Saint Emperor. Even so, he just entered the battlefield and wouldn't dare to act rashly. He would definitely go to the tent to discuss with us. However, now that we can't find the commander, there is only one possibility. This person paused for a moment and continued, the commander may have encountered danger, but after he escaped, he hid himself. Everyone spoke one after another, trying to figure out where exactly the commander was. Only the person in charge was pale. Report. At this moment, a warrior ran in quickly. How is it? Is there any news of the commander? The person in charge asked hurriedly. Everyone's eyes were focused on the warrior reporting. The latter shook his head. There are no clues about the commander, but, seeing him hesitate, the person in charge scolded. But what? Outside the tent, there is a strange man who claims to be the commander of the Xiaoyaro army. The warrior gritted his teeth and said, What? Everyone exclaimed. However, our intelligence personnel sent news that this person is suspicious. He crossed the border from the Heavenly Moon Army area. Hearing this, everyone was puzzled. A spy? Someone shook his head. If it was a spy, how would he dare to swagger into the Xiaoyaro army tent? Bring him in. The person in charge said. Soon after, Fang Chen was brought into the tent. After seeing Fang Chen, the person in charge's eyes lit up. He quickly stepped forward and clasped his hands. Greetings, Commander. They recognized Fang Chen's portrait from the military palace at a glance. Commander. Many people were surprised. According to the warrior reporting earlier, this person crossed the border from the Heavenly Moon Army. They widened their eyes and looked at Fang Chen. Fang Chen nodded. The person in charge asked curiously, "Commander, we received news from the military palace that you entered the battlefield, but we couldn't find you these days. I went to the Heavenly Moon Army area to kill the enemy," Fang Chen said casually. But in the ears of everyone who heard it, their expressions changed. "What?" everyone exclaimed. After countless battles, Fang Chen was a little tired. He waved his hand and said, "I'm going to rest." Before he left, he did not forget to remind the person in charge. "The Heavenly Moon Army will probably declare war on the Xiaoyaro army. Tell everyone to prepare for battle." After he finished speaking, he turned around and left, leaving behind a crowd of confused people. "Sir, is he really our commander?" A doubtful voice came from the crowd. The person in charge nodded. The news from the military palace was true, and the person in charge felt the commander's token on Fang Chen's body. It was authentic. But he broke into the Heavenly Moon Army area alone? They did not believe it. The person in charge pondered what Fang Chen's last sentence meant. Chapter 3667. When Fang Chen came back, he only briefly explained the situation. The Sky Moon Army and the Wise King Army were likely to start a war and ordered the entire Carefree Army to prepare for war. At first, the people in the tent didn't quite understand. But 3 days later, they were completely stunned. The news of the battle in the Sky Moon Army had finally reached the Carefree Army's tent. After everyone heard this, they were all shaken. "What did you say?" the person in charge asked with his eyes wide open. He couldn't believe his ears. "Sir, the news came from the Sky Moon Army, and the person who sent the news was one of our spies in the Sky Moon Army." He said with certainty that it was true. The person who reported the news said, "Oh my God." Countless exclamations came from the tent. How is that possible? He went into the dragon's den alone and killed hundreds of Sky Moon Army soldiers. Also, Bao Lan was among them. It's unimaginable. Was it really our commander who did it? Everyone's hearts were surging with waves of shock. In their eyes, the young commander who used his connections to get to the top had achieved such an impressive result. He was too strong. "Tell me in detail," the person in charge hurriedly asked. The person who reported the news told him in detail how the Sky Moon Army led by Bao Lan was killed by the commander. Suddenly, in the main hall, there was a dead silence. Everyone was still immersed in the great shock and couldn't extricate themselves. Until a long time later, the person in charge came back to his senses and seemed to have thought of something. He roared loudly, "Prepare for war, let everyone prepare for war as soon as possible." His loud roar instantly pulled everyone's thoughts back to reality. They hurriedly went to make arrangements. The Sky Moon Army had lost so many elites at once, they would definitely be furious and would definitely declare war on the Carefree Army. So, they had to prepare for war as soon as possible. In fact, the Sky Moon Army's actions were much faster than they had imagined. They had underestimated the anger of the Sky Moon Army. Soon after, the Sky Moon Prefecture's army pressed the border and forced the Carefree Army to hand over their commander. Otherwise, they wouldn't mind killing them. The Carefree Army of course refused. A war broke out in an instant. During this time, the Wise King residents also joined in. It had been a long time since such a large-scale war broke out in the 3 prefectures. This time, the Sky Moon Mansion seemed determined to kill the commander-in-chief of the Carefree Army. "PH, you're just a new commander. How dare you kill a member of the Heavenly Moon Army? You're asking for death. Hurry up and hand over the commander, or I'll annihilate your Carefree Manor." The war continued. Carefree Manor had accumulated a lot of resources over the years, so they were not afraid of the Sky Moon Army. It was hard to determine the victor in a short time. As for Fang Chen, he did not participate in the war. His current identity was a little special. Once he appeared on the battlefield, he would definitely be targeted. However, he arranged for others to pick up the remains of Saint Emperors from the battlefield for him. In just half a month, 300 Saint Emperor skeletons had been gathered. And at this time, the merit points on Fang Chen's merit badge had also reached an extremely high number. Let's exchange for blood first. Fang Chen muttered to himself and then left the battlefield silently. Those who entered the battlefield and wanted to leave had to meet certain conditions. First, 10 years. The second was merit points. Fang Chen's merit points had far exceeded the requirements. After leaving the battlefield, Fang Chen did not stop and immediately returned to the military palace. Greetings, Commander. The deputy commander of the Black Orchid Legion saw Fang Chen and hurriedly bowed. Since the last turmoil, Li Shu's faction had basically been wiped out. Fang Chen's prestige in the military palace rose steadily, and with the help of the Black Orchid Legion. Basically, the entire military palace was under his control. Has anything happened in the military palace recently? Fang Chen asked. The deputy commander's expression suddenly changed and then became gloomy. Commander, after you left, the military palace has been very peaceful. But just a few days ago, the commander of our Black Orchid Legion returned, and he seemed to speak. The deputy commander gritted his teeth and said, "The commander seemed to be very dissatisfied with you, and he said that if you want him to submit, you must defeat him with absolute strength." After saying that, the deputy commander hurriedly explained. He said that the commander was not a treacherous person like Li Shu. It was just that the commander was obsessed with martial arts and would only submit to opponents who were stronger than him. He heard that the new commander, Lin Chen, was just a young man who had just stepped into the Saint Emperor realm. Fang Chen nodded. This was not a big deal. You go back first, I have some things to deal with. Fang Chen said, after I'm done, I'll find you. After saying that, Fang Chen went straight to the military palace's treasury. Voila! The treasure spirit of the treasury appeared out of thin air. Commander, how may I be of service? Fang Chen walked in front of the demon swallowing blood and pointed, I want to exchange for them. The bones of a Saint Emperor in 100 places can be exchanged for 1 drop. The treasure spirit was somewhat surprised. Who would have thought that the new commander would finish his task so quickly? Fang Chen did not say anything and took out all the bones of a Saint Emperor in 300 places. In an instant, they piled up like a mountain. Exactly 300. I want to exchange for all the blood, Fang Chen said. Hearing that, the treasure spirit was stunned. It opened its eyes wide and stared at the pile of bones in front of Fang Chen. It could not imagine how the commander had done it in such a short time. Can I exchange for them? Fang Chen was eager to get the blood and urged. Of course. The treasure spirit came back to its senses and nodded slightly. It counted and found that there were exactly 300 bones. Then, it flicked its finger and 3 drops of blood floated in the air and floated into Fang Chen's hand. Even with the protective shield, he could still feel the aura of the demon swallowing blood. Thanks. Fang Chen kept the 3 drops of blood and nodded. The treasure spirit said, this is the military palace's rule. Since the commander has met the corresponding exchange requirements, you can exchange for it. Fang Chen's eyes flashed with a fiery light. He would first absorb these 3 drops of blood and then ask Xiao Yarrow who for the drop that he had promised to give him. Then, he could plan for the next step. After walking out of the military palace's treasury, just then, he saw a tall man walking towards him. You are Lin Chen? The man had a look of disdain on his face and asked coldly. Yes. I am the leader of the Black Orchid Army. I believe the deputy leader has told you that I am the first to disagree with you being the commander, the leader said. So what? Fang Chen said with a smile. What did it matter if he was convinced or not? Temph, you know what I am talking about. The leader snorted. Fang Chen shrugged. Back then, Li Shu was also unconvinced. You saw the result in the end. Chapter 3668. After exchanging the blood, Fang Chen only wanted to absorb it as soon as possible to improve his strength. Therefore, he didn't want to pay attention to the leader of the Helan battle group. However, his attitude completely infuriated the captain. The latter was furious and blocked in front of Fang Chen, not letting him leave. Kid, I'm only talking to you like this because you're the commander. The leader of the Helan battle group snorted. I, Liu Mu, Only believe in the strong. If you want me to submit to you, sure. Fight me. If he lost, he naturally wouldn't find trouble with the commander. Fang Chen frowned. Do I need to care about your attitude? He was the commander personally appointed by Duke Xiaoyao. Why should he care about the leader of an independent battle group? Moreover, he was a member of the Chaos Realm, and he was the mortal enemy of the Origin Realm. You've gone too far. As soon as his voice faded, Liu Mu shouted in a low voice and stomped his foot. Suddenly, the surrounding ground showed signs of cracking. The next moment, dust flew and a terrifying aura swept across the world. Liu Mu's pitch-black eyes were filled with incomparable rage. He raised his arm and pointed at Fang Chen. I, Liu Mu, the leader of the Helan battle group, challenge the new commander Lin Chen. Do you dare to fight? The commotion here attracted a lot of people. After a while, several generals arrived. Liu Mu, don't be rude. When these generals saw Fang Chen, their faces suddenly changed and hurriedly scolded. What kind of joke was this? How powerful was Li Shu? He had supreme prestige in the military palace. But in the end, didn't he still end up in such a miserable state? Since the destruction of Li Shu's faction, the military palace had been completely controlled by Fang Chen. His words could determine a person's life and death. Plus, the biggest thorn in the entire military palace, the Helan battle group, had surrendered. He, as a leader, was a commander without an army. How could he, Liu Mu, fight with the commander? Liu Mu, you've gone too far. The commander was appointed by Duke Xiaoyao. What you're doing is beneath your dignity. Of course. These generals didn't dare to say too much and just tried to persuade Liu Mu. After all, Liu Mu was not only the leader of the Helan battle group, but he also had an even more terrifying identity. That is, the Liu family had once produced a half-step chaotic supremacy who had even become the unofficial disciple of the devouring demon clan leader. Unfortunately, due to certain reasons, that super powerhouse had fallen. This also led to the rapid decline of the Liu family. In the end, they retreated to a small place like the Carefree Palace. Of course, even so, the Liu family was also an existence that could contend with the Carefree Palace. However, under normal circumstances, the Liu family would not have a real conflict with the Carefree Mansion. No one dared to guarantee that the super expert of the Liu family had really fallen. Or had he befriended some experts in the devouring demon clan? Once the Liu family contacted those experts, not to mention the Carefree Palace, even the allied forces of the three palaces would not be able to stop them. I, Liu Mu, always do things with a clear conscience. Liu Mu stopped attacking and said coldly, the military palace is the most important organization of the Carefree Mansion. It directly controls the lives of all the people in the Carefree Mansion. If the leader of the military palace is incompetent and causes the Carefree Manor to lose in the War of the Three Manors and lose a large amount of cultivation resources, then he will be a sinner. Liu Mu looked around. The generals were silent. Therefore, I, Liu Mu, do not ask for much. Everyone understood what he meant. He wanted to challenge the new commander. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Liu Mu challenged Fang Chen again. His face was full of disdain. If you don't dare, then get out of the military palace as soon as possible. Cowards are not welcome here. The generals were speechless. They knew that once Liu Mu had made his decision, no one could change it. Everyone's eyes fell on Fang Chen. At this moment, Fang Chen grinned and raised his head, looking at Liu Mu seriously. You are Liu Mu? Without waiting for Liu Mu to answer, he continued to ask, you challenge me. If I lose, I will lose the position of commander. If you lose, you will not lose anything. This is unfair to me. Liu Mu's eyes lit up. The provocation was indeed effective. The commander could not sit still. What do you want? Liu Mu shrugged. As long as you dare to accept the challenge, I can accept any request. Is that so? Fang Chen said. Then what if I want your life? Liu Mu was stunned for a moment before he reacted and laughed. My life? As long as you have the ability, you can come and take it any time. However, Fang Chen shook his head. Your life is worthless. But I heard that your Liu family is powerful. You should have a lot of cultivation resources, right? Fang Chen rolled his eyes. He had already set his sights on the Liu family. I wonder if you, as a disciple of the Liu family, can make the decision on behalf of the Liu family. Facing Fang Chen's question, Liu Mu's face was full of disdain. A mere 4th-level holy emperor dared to set his sights on the Liu family. He was courting death. If not for the fact that he was afraid that he would reject the challenge, Liu Mu would have gone berserk. If you have something to say, just say it. Liu Mu said. Fang Chen nodded and did not beat around the bush. He said directly, you also know that my cultivation level is too low. I need to work hard to cultivate. But what I lack the most now is cultivation resources. If you lose, I don't want anything else. I just want 100 drops of blood that are of the same level as the 3 drops in the military palace's treasury. Since the conditions had been stated, the next step was to wait for Liu Mu's response. Hearing this, Liu Mu's expression changed. He did not expect the commander's request to be 100 drops of blood. He was very clear that the 3 drops of blood in the military palace's treasury were of an extremely high level. Even in his Liu family, it was considered a treasure. How about it? If you agree, I will accept the challenge, Fang Chen said. You should know the importance of the demon swallowing blood. I can use other treasures of the same value to exchange for it, Liu Mu said. He did not have the authority to obtain 100 drops of blood. Fang Chen shook his head and turned to leave. Stop. Seeing this, Liu Mu called out to Fang Chen. 50 drops. This is my bottom line. Didn't you think that you are very powerful and look down on me? Why don't you dare to accept the bet? Fang Chen mocked and did not say anything else. Liu Mu thought quickly in his mind. In fact, whether it was 100 drops or 200 drops, it was the same to him. Because he would definitely win this battle. However, he was still a little uneasy. 150, Fang Chen said without turning his head. 70 drops. 200, Fang Chen continued. He did not care about Liu Mu's thoughts. At this moment, Liu Mu finally could not hold back. A trace of coldness flashed in his eyes. He immediately gritted his teeth and said, all right, 100 drops it is. I agree. Hearing this, Fang Chen stopped and turned around. He grinned and said, wouldn't it have been better if you were this straightforward from the start? Liu Mu snorted coldly. A mere 4th-level holy emperor dared to threaten him. 3 days later, at the martial arts practice field, he said coldly. At that time, he would definitely let the new commander know the consequences of threatening him. No problem. Just prepare the blood. Chapter 3669. On one side was the leader of the Helan Legion. He was extremely powerful and had the backing of the Liu clan. In the past, his prestige in the military palace had even surpassed many of the generals. On the other side was the new commander, Lin Chen. Such a battle would definitely attract the attention of countless people. Everyone was looking forward to the battle in 3 days. Commander. A general followed Fang Chen to the commander's residence and said in a low voice, Liu Mu is not only powerful, but also has the backing of the Liu clan. You have to be careful. It's fine. I need some blood anyway. Fang Chen smiled. Not to mention the Liu clan, he was not even afraid of the Carefree Palace. After all, the outcome of this battle was already decided. No matter how powerful Liu Mu was, how powerful could he be? But he was different. 3 days was enough for him to absorb 3 drops of blood. If he could absorb all of them, his strength would definitely skyrocket. At that time, it would be too easy to deal with Liu Mu. Therefore, Fang Chen was not worried at all. Instead, he was more concerned about the demon swallowing blood. Do you know how to obtain more demon swallowing blood? Hearing this, the general thought for a moment and said, there are 5 types of demon swallowing blood. The lowest type can be found everywhere. Every general in the military palace has it. To put it bluntly, this type of blood was only useful for martial artists who had not activated their demon-swallowing bloodline. Others would not even bother to use it. The second type was the 3 drops of blood in the military palace's treasury. Under normal circumstances, This type of blood was extremely beneficial to martial artists of the Holy Emperor realm. If one could completely absorb it, it was possible to break through and even activate their demon-swallowing bloodline. Moreover, there was a great chance to increase the density of their bloodline. In the entire Carefree Palace, other than the Marquis, only the Liu clan has this type of blood. The 3 drops of blood in the treasury were also given by the Marquis for meritorious service, the general said. Hearing this, Fang Chen's expression changed slightly. The 3 drops of blood were only of the second type. He was curious. How magical were the other 3 types of blood? The third type is the blood essence of the various palace lords. This type of blood is extremely precious. Under normal circumstances, it is very difficult to obtain it. Only those who have some relationship with the Marquis can be given it. The general continued. He also mentioned that there might be some ruins left behind by experts in the origin world that would occasionally contain blood of the 3rd level. However, it was not common. As for the 4th type, it was the blood essence of the generals under the devouring demon clan leader. They were called war gods and were invincible. They were the faith of the devouring demons. In the origin world, their status was second only to the patriarch of the devil-devouring clan. However, because the patriarch of the devouring demon clan had always been in seclusion, attempting to break through to the legendary realm of universe controller, most of the matters in the origin world were handled by the war gods. Their blood essence is said to be able to bring the dead back to life and allow saints to break through to the next realm without any obstacles. Hearing this, even Fang Chen couldn't help but be surprised. He did not expect the blood of the demon-devouring tribe to be so overbearing. According to the records, the war gods of the devouring demon clan were basically half-step chaotic supremes. It was too difficult to obtain their blood. Fang Chen licked his dry lips. His intuition told him that only by devouring the blood of the battle gods of the devils could his perfect bloodline evolve completely. There's no rush. Soon, Fang Chen calmed down. He suppressed his restless emotions. Now, he was in the origin world and enemies were everywhere. Once his identity was exposed, not only would he die, but the entire chaotic realm would be destroyed. The burden on his shoulders was very heavy, so he could not be anxious. Before he had full confidence, he could not act rashly. Although I can't get the blood of the war gods of the devouring demon clan for the time being, at least I can get some other blood. Fang Chen thought to himself. No matter what, other levels of blood could at least speed up the evolution of the perfect bloodline. It was very beneficial. As for the 5th type of blood, the general did not say. It was not that he did not want to say it, but that he did not dare to. Because it involved the patriarch of the devouring demon clan, they did not dare to say much. Fang Chen guessed it. He nodded slightly, collected his thoughts, and said, "You can leave now. If there's any news of blood, remember to inform me." "Yes, Commander." After the general left, Fang Chen shook his wrist, and a formation enveloped the commander's residence. He sat cross-legged and took out 3 drops of blood. The faintly discernible blood contained extremely strong power. This kind of energy was extremely mysterious. Moreover, it was mixed with a strand of the aura of the Devil Tao. It gave others the feeling as if it could devour everything. The 2nd type. Fang Chen murmured. He had gone through so much trouble to get the blood, but he did not expect that it was only the 2nd level of blood. He shook his head and felt the power in the blood flowing away. He did not say anything else and began to absorb it. Buzz. The perfect bloodline in his body flickered and then quickly disappeared. In that instant, the devouring demon blood sensed it and surged into Fang Chen's body. Hiss. Hiss. The absorption process was beyond Fang Chen's expectations. He originally thought that there would be obstacles. But after absorbing it, he realized that success came naturally. The entire process was completed in the blink of an eye. Buzz. His blood and chi churned in his body, and he could clearly feel that the perfect bloodline seemed to have transformed. And his cultivation level had also risen to the 5th rank Holy Emperor. Fang Chen was stunned. But soon, he understood. The reason why he could absorb it so easily should be the effect of the perfect bloodline. What a pity. Fang Chen felt a little regretful. If not for the fear of being sensed when he released the perfect bloodline, he would have released it long ago. Pitter-patter. The sound of bones cracking came from his body. Fang Chen performed the invincible sword technique to consolidate his cultivation. A day later, after his cultivation was completely consolidated, he once again came to the military palace's treasury to look for an origin sacred weapon. The previous longsword was too low grade. Fang Chen muttered to himself. He walked around the treasury and soon found a long sword. Buzz. He touched it lightly with his palm and felt the scorching flames erupting from it. This was a fire origin sacred weapon, which was compatible with his origin attribute. I'll choose this. After choosing it, he contacted the weapon spirit of the treasury to exchange for it. Spirit Slayer sword? Fang Chen carefully looked at the long sword and muttered to himself. He thought of his battle partner in his previous life, the Hidden Star Sword. Unfortunately, he had to go through the reincarnation road and could not bring it over. The reincarnation road was too mysterious. Even a supreme venerable had to exhaust all means to send himself to the origin world, so there was no need to think about bringing a treasure with him. Well, since I'm new, I'll start over. Fang Chen muttered to himself, his primordial spirit trembling. Chapter 3670. 5th level Holy Emperor cultivation and the origin saint weapon, the Spirit Slayer sword. Fang Chen's strength had reached a whole new level. In these days, he had been comprehending the origin again. The order of heaven and earth in the origin world was complete. The heavenly path was also complete. Therefore, the 5 origins were even more perfect. It was easier to comprehend them. Moreover, the origin power was many times stronger than in his previous life. Although he was only a 5th level Holy Emperor, he had already used his comprehension of the origin and the invincible way of the sword to make up for the difference in cultivation level. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. The battle on the arena had finally arrived. On this day, the entire military palace was bustling. Many generals had come to the martial arts field early in the morning. Soon, the place was filled with people. In fact, even the various independent battle groups had come. Liu Mu is very strong. It is said that he has reached the peak of 6th level Holy Emperor. I wonder if the new commander can defeat him? I don't think so. Although the commander went to the 3 prefectures continent to train, the difference in cultivation level is too big. It is impossible for him to defeat Liu Mu. If Liu Mu wins, the military palace will be the Liu family's world. Some people were discussing. Of course, there were many people who stood on the side of the new commander. Because of this, there was a big dispute in the Helan battle group. The faction led by the deputy commander supported the commander. Deputy commander, someone said in a low voice. The deputy commander's face was pale. After the incident with Li Shu, the deputy commander had an inexplicable trust in Fang Chen. Moreover, compared to the Liu family, he was more willing to be loyal to the current commander. Liu Mu was headstrong and self-opinionated. The reason he could become the commander of the Helan battle group was because of the Liu family behind him. Many members had a lot of resentment towards Liu Mu. They just didn't dare to say it. This time, the deputy commander had publicly expressed his attitude. This action of his was undoubtedly a complete break with Liu Mu, the leader of the group. I will not regret the decision I have made. The deputy commander pondered. The many members behind him quieted down and stopped their discussion. On the other side, the members of the commander's faction had mocking expressions. I say, Vice Captain, you've lived for so long, but you've really lived like a dog. That's right. He clearly knew that the regiment commander would definitely win, yet he still did not hesitate to shed all pretense of cordiality to protect the new commander. Do you really think that you can continue to be the commander? With the Liu family around, Liu Mu can do whatever he wants in the military palace. Chimph, we'll see. Their faces were filled with disdain. They could already see that after Liu Mu defeated the commander, the general's palace would take control and completely eliminate scum like the deputy commander. Whoosh! In the crowded martial arts practice field, a terrifying loud sound suddenly rang out. Immediately after, Liu Mu came riding on the waves. Terrifying power gushed out from his body, forming a huge wave that floated under his feet. The scene was spectacular. Voila! Liu Mu came riding on the waves and stood on the martial arts platform. He looked down from above, but didn't see any trace of Fang Chen. You don't dare to come? Liu Mu was very arrogant. After today, the military palace would only remember Liu Mu. Commander's residence. Fang Chen got up and restrained his aura. His essence, qi, and spirit had been raised to the best state. Commander. His personal guard whispered. Liu Mu has arrived at the martial arts practice field. Fang Chen looked at the time and slowly left the residence. The scorching sun hung high in the sky. All the generals were paying attention to this battle. Where's the commander? Time passed bit by bit, and the crowd began to sound puzzled. Why hadn't the commander appeared yet? I think that guy must be afraid and dare not come. Someone in the Helan battle group sneered. But soon, it was refuted by others. It's not the appointed time yet. What's the hurry? Just as everyone was talking, Fang Chen came. He didn't make a big scene like Liu Mu. Instead, he strolled over like an ordinary person. The crowd opened up a path for him. He went straight to the martial arts practice field. From the beginning to the end, there was a calm smile on his face. It seemed that the battle in front of him was not worth mentioning at all. You're here, Liu Mu said in a hoarse voice. Fang Chen nodded. 100 drops of blood. Have you prepared them? Swoosh. Liu Mu shook his wrist, and suddenly a large container appeared in front of him. It was filled with dense blood. Sure enough. Fang Chen's eyes were burning when he saw this. As expected of the Liu family, it was amazing to collect 100 drops of blood in such a short time. Very good. Fang Chen grinned. It's here. I'm afraid you won't be alive to take it. Liu Mu provoked. In the martial arts practice field, some elders of the Liu family also arrived. They supported Liu Mu very much, so they were willing to take out 100 drops of blood as a bet. As long as Mu kills the new commander, his prestige will reach the highest. At that time, he should be able to fight for the position of commander in the military palace with the help of the carefree mansion. An elder of the Liu family whispered. The battle hadn't started yet, but the atmosphere in the field had soared to the peak. Everyone was shouting to their heart's content, witnessing the upcoming shocking battle. Thank you for the 100 drops of blood you prepared for me. Fang Chen shrugged. He was determined to get the blood. In the eyes of the outsiders, he had no chance of winning this battle. But in reality, he was confident of winning. Because this place was extremely far away from the three prefectures' continent, there was a delay in the news. If they knew that Fang Chen had killed hundreds of people from the Sky Moon Army in the three prefectures' continent, including Bao Lan, they would definitely be shocked. As for that Liu Mu, he would definitely not be so confident as to challenge Fang Chen. Unfortunately, they didn't know about this fatal information. They were still arrogant like idiots. What a joke. Liu Mu sneered. My realm has long reached the 6th level Holy Emperor realm, and I'm seeking a breakthrough in life and death battles. I even dare to fight against a 7th level Holy Emperor. What about you? Liu Mu pointed at Fang Chen. I'm very curious. Where did you get the courage to fight with me? On the martial arts practice field, the atmosphere was heavy. Sparks flew as their eyes met. The elders of the Liu family frowned slightly. Hurry up, let's end this quickly. That's right. This is the military palace after all. To prevent any accidents, let's end this quickly. They were worried that in these 3 days, Fang Chen had secretly contacted the carefree mansion to seek protection from Xiao Yarohu. Once Xiao Yarohu intervened, it would be troublesome. The elder in grey transmitted his voice. On the martial arts practice field, Liu Mu's expression gradually turned gloomy. Lin Chen, next. Let me see what qualifications you have to be the commander-in-chief of the military palace. He waved his hand, and a terrifying aura soared into the sky. Chapter 3671. For both sides, there was no room for failure in this battle. Liu Mu represented the Liu family and the new power of the military palace. If he won, with the prestige of the Helan battle group and the Liu family behind the scenes, he would be able to command the military palace. Moreover, he would be able to integrate the resources of the military palace in a very short period of time and use them for his own use. This was also what the Liu family wanted to see after careful consideration. From the fact that they had gathered 100 drops of blood in 3 days and sent a few elders to personally deliver it to Liu Mu, it could be seen that there was a problem. Of course, the Liu family was also very confident. They had full confidence in Liu Mu and thought that the outcome of this battle was basically set. For Fang Chen, he had to win this battle as well. However, comparatively speaking, he was more relaxed. His cultivation had stepped into the 5th level of the Saint Emperor realm, and his physical body and primordial spirit had both undergone a transformation. He really couldn't think of any means that Liu Mu had to defeat him. In this battle, before it even started, there were already blazing sparks. Many generals in the military palace looked up. Their thoughts were complicated and they were thinking about many things. There hadn't been such a grand event for many years. Everyone in the military palace came to watch. On the martial arts arena, Liu Mu clenched his fists and shook violently. Immediately, a vast amount of energy erupted from his body. This power gave people an unparalleled sense of impact. "This is," everyone exclaimed. They didn't expect Liu Mu to have reached the peak of the 6th level. He was only 1 step away from the 7th level of the Saint realm. Oh my God, Liu Mu has actually touched the Saint's will. He's too strong. It's simply unimaginable. What exactly did this guy experience when he went out to train? Even the expressions of many generals changed. Liu Mu's strength was beyond their imagination. Only a few elders of the Liu family had smiles on their faces. "Not bad, Mua didn't let us down. Yes, all the resources of our Liu family are leaning towards him. He has also proven himself." In the blink of an eye, the battle on the martial arts arena instantly broke out. Kill. Liu Mu stomped his feet, and the martial arts arena trembled. His entire body directly jumped into the air. His body was like a swimming dragon, rushing towards Fang Chen as fast as lightning. At the same time, his fists also punched out fiercely. In the void, the 2 fist shadows carried boundless power, causing people to tremble. However, Fang Chen faced it calmly. Whoosh! Under everyone's gaze, Fang Chen didn't dodge when the 2 fists came at him. Instead, he raised his palm and waved it gently. The 2 imposing fist shadows immediately dissipated. Everyone was dumbfounded. What was going on in the sect? Why was it like this? "Commander, how did you neutralize Liu Mu's attack? What happened just now?" Cries of surprise could be heard from the crowd. "Liu Mu, don't underestimate the enemy." Below the stage, the voice of the elder of the Liu family could be heard. That was just the appetizer." Liu Mu was bursting with confidence. He looked down at Fang Chen from above. "Now, let's see how you're going to withstand it." Boom. Boom. Liu Mu threw out punch after punch. The entire void was shrouded in fist shadows. Fang Chen, on the other hand, was trapped in the fist shadows. He's so strong. Everyone was shocked. Liu Mu should be able to fight even against a 7th level saint, right? Everyone's gaze fell on Fang Chen, wanting to see how he would deal with it. Buzz. Light flashed around Fang Chen's body. His physical strength covered the surface of his skin, forming a powerful sword armor. At the same time, his primordial spirit wrapped around his internal organs to prevent injuries. After that, he took out the Spirit Slayer sword. Whoosh! The invincible sword technique was displayed. Between heaven and earth, the invincible sword chi filled the air and quickly condensed into a huge sword shadow. Tens of thousands of sword shadows descended from the sky, carrying with them unparalleled power as they sliced apart the densely packed fist shadows. Boom! A terrifying explosive force swept over. The spectators in the martial arts practice field couldn't help but retreat. What kind of sword technique is this? The expressions of the elders of the Liu family changed drastically. Judging from the exchange of blows just now, this new commander was not as weak as they had thought. A 5th-level Saint Emperor can display such a powerful sword technique? Unbelievable. This guy must have obtained some kind of inheritance. This sword technique is at least at the saint level. Not only them. Many of the generals in the military palace were also shocked. What an exquisite sword technique. How did he do it? This kind of sword will shocked me. After Fang Chen displayed the invincible sword technique, he waved the Spirit Slayer sword in succession. A huge sword shadow swooped down, as if to tear the world apart. They crisscrossed and collided with the densely packed fist shadows. Kill him. In the void, Liu Mu also felt a trace of pressure. However, he still firmly believed that he was the final victor. Kill. Fang Chen said softly. Immediately, the Spirit Slayer sword swayed and shot out a sword light invisible to the naked eye at an extremely tricky angle. This sword light passed through the layers of fist shadows and shot into Liu Mu's mind. Bang! Liu Mu's body suddenly shook. Then, he staggered and couldn't support himself. The fist shadow in the air collapsed with a loud bang. What's going on? Everyone exclaimed, and the faces of several elders of the Liu family were extremely gloomy. Spirit Slayer sword? They gritted their teeth and said these 3 words. Until now. Many generals in the military palace recognized the Spirit Slayer sword. This, the commander actually exchanged for the Spirit Slayer sword? Great, the commander will win this battle. Ha ha ha, this is really exciting. At this time, they also understood why Liu Mu couldn't support himself. The Spirit Slayer sword was a very strong origin sacred weapon, and it contained the power to shake the primordial spirit. Obviously, the commander had just completely activated the Spirit Slayer sword, letting its deepest energy burst out and hit Liu Mu's primordial spirit. Mu-er! The Liu family elder roared loudly. Liu Mu barely woke up from the shock. He held his head with both hands, and pain filled his whole body. No, I am Liu Mu, I can't lose. In a daze, Liu Mu muttered to himself. Mu-er! Voices echoed on the martial arts arena, directly hitting Liu Mu's primordial spirit. Dong dong dong! Liu Mu's eyes were scarlet, and he fell into madness. There was only one thought in his mind, and that was to defeat the commander. And in his body, in his heart, there was also a strange power that flowed out endlessly. When this power spread throughout his body, the power of the Spirit Slayer sword was finally completely expelled. Liu Mu's face was pale, and he stared at Fang Chen. You really surprised me, you actually exchanged for the Spirit Slayer sword. Liu Mu's voice was hoarse. With the Spirit Slayer sword in hand, coupled with Fang Chen's exquisite swordsmanship, he could no longer be regarded as an ordinary 5th-level Holy Emperor. His combat strength was no weaker than a 6th-level Holy Emperor. So, Liu Mu used his trump card. In the martial arts arena, the onlookers were screaming. Chapter 3672. Dong dong dong. Loud noises came from Liu Mu's body. Everyone's eyes were attracted by it. They saw. In his body, there were countless cyclones spinning crazily. Each cyclone contained a completely different power. Origin Strangle. Liu Mu shouted in a low voice. He spread out his hands and guided the cyclones in his body. These cyclones collided with each other, and then the internal power intertwined, instantly evolving into an even more powerful force. Buzz. Layers of air waves rose into the sky. The entire martial arts practice field was dead silent. Everyone was stunned. Because, they were shocked to find that after the cyclones in Liu Mu's body disappeared, there were 3 balls of light above his head. A ball of light condensed from hot flames. A ball of light condensed from shocking waves. And another ball of light condensed from wind and sand. The most important thing was, these 3 balls of light rotated with each other, releasing a terrifying origin power. That's right, it was the origin power. Huh! Even Fang Chen's face gradually became solemn. Because he saw through Liu Mu's intentions. Origin fusion? Fang Chen was in a daze. In his previous life, when he was cultivating in the Chaos Realm, he had also tried to fuse the origin. However, at the beginning of the world, the 5 great origins had already been born. They were the foundation of the Chaos Realm and the support of the entire space. They repelled each other, and it was difficult and easy. And since ancient times, those who could fuse two kinds of origin power were already 1 in 10,000 supermonsters. According to the ancient records of the Chaos Realm, in recent eras, only one person had successfully fused the 4 great origins. This had already made history. No one before and no one since. He was once the strongest person in the Chaos Realm, Supreme Fu Jian. Now, after reincarnating, he once again encountered the origin fusion. Buzz. The 3 origin light balls above Liu Mu's head had some problems in the process of fusing and shook violently. The sound of the vibration pulled Fang Chen's thoughts back. He stared at Liu Mu closely. After a long time, he breathed a sigh of relief. Do you want to forcefully fuse? He could see that Liu Mu was unable to control the origin fusion at all. Perhaps it was just a coincidence that he obtained a certain secret technique. Forced into a corner, he had no choice but to use it. The consequence of doing so was that he would most likely be heavily injured by the backlash and lose his ability to fight. Invincible sword technique. Fang Chen held the Spirit Slayer sword in his hand. He performed the invincible sword art. Invincible sword chi circled around him, completely enveloping him. However, he felt that it was not enough. The next attack would be Liu Mu's fiercest and most domineering one. There was no room for carelessness. He had to give it his all. Only by blocking this most ferocious attack would they be able to win the battle. Whoosh! Dazzling sword light erupted from the Spirit Slayer sword. Meanwhile, he also activated his origin energy and poured it into the Spirit Slayer sword. What happened? The onlookers exclaimed in surprise. Who would have thought that Liu Mu would have such a trump card? Fusion of origins? Is Liu Mu crazy? The generals in the palace widened their eyes in disbelief. In their opinion, in order to fuse with the origin source, one's cultivation had to be at least at the level of a 9th level saint. Right now, Liu Mu was only a 6th level saint emperor. Since the establishment of the origin world, there had been many cases where one's cultivation was too low and forcefully fused with the origin source. In the end, they exploded and died. Therefore, after the generals saw it, they turned pale with fright. On the other hand, a smile appeared on the faces of the elders of the Liu family. Mu did well. Yes, Mu has comprehended the origin source fusion technique. This battle will definitely establish supreme prestige in the palace. Another elder also nodded. However, we also need to be on guard. After all, Mu's cultivation is too low. If he can't hold on, we have to take action immediately to protect his internal organs. The few elders secretly communicated with each other, but their eyes were fixed on Liu Mu. On the martial arts arena, Liu Mu's face was ferocious. He had never fought so hard before. If I can't defeat you in this battle, how can I, Liu Mu, still have the face to live in this world? After saying that, Liu Mu launched a crazy attack. Buzz. At this moment, layers of invisible ripples suddenly appeared in all directions. These ripples connected seamlessly, forming an independent space. This was an array. In an instant, the array enveloped the martial arts arena, and no one could see the situation inside. Dong dong dong. A deafening sound soared into the sky. Everyone was very anxious. How was the battle going? I don't know what's going on. I didn't expect the commander to be an array master. Yes, the power of this array isn't too strong, but it's very tough. It's an extremely strong trapping array. The expressions of the elders of the Liu family changed. They tried their best to release their primordial spirits, trying to penetrate the array and see the situation inside. However, no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't penetrate it. Damn it. This array is extremely special. It can actually restrict divine consciousness. It doesn't matter. This array is just a trapping array. It doesn't have the ability to attack and can't affect Mu. In the end, the elders of the Liu family quieted down. They were waiting. As long as the commander was defeated, the array would break on its own. Crack. Only a quarter of an hour passed. The array showed signs of cracking, shaking as if it would shatter at any time. This scene made the hearts of the generals in the palace tremble. As for the elders of the Liu family, their faces were full of surprise. "It's over," they said softly. Crack. There was another loud sound. The cracks on the array grew bigger and bigger, and in the end, it could no longer be maintained. Boom. Under everyone's gaze, the array shattered with a loud bang. Dust flew, and a terrifying wave of air soared into the sky. Everyone widened their eyes, wanting to see the battle situation on the martial arts practice platform clearly. Who won? In the crowd, one could vaguely hear this voice. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The smoke dissipated, and a tall and straight figure appeared on the martial arts practice platform. Mu'er has made a contribution. The elder of the Liu family stroked his beard and said with a smile. However, before he could finish his words, he felt that something was wrong. Immediately after, their expressions suddenly changed drastically, and their anger soared to the sky. The tall and straight figure on the martial arts practice platform was not Liu Mu, but the commander that no one was optimistic about. What? This result was beyond everyone's expectations. It made everyone's jaws drop. Oh my God, the commander defeated Li Mu? What exactly happened? Many people felt incredulous. However, they noticed that at the feet of Fang Chen, Liu Mu, who was covered in blood, was lying in a pool of blood, dying. His blood essence had long been sucked dry by Fang Chen. No. The elders of the Liu family who woke up from the shock were furious. Their terrifying aura was rising steadily. They locked onto Fang Chen, full of hatred. Kid, what did you do? Chapter 3673. The people of the Liu family were furious. In fact, they thought that this battle was foolproof. They knew Liu Mu's strength very well. It was a piece of cake for him to deal with a Soul Line Realm warrior. Plus, the opponent was the new commander of the military palace. If they could defeat or even kill him, Liu Mu could control the military palace and thus the entire Xiaoyaro army. This was a rare opportunity for the Liu family. So, after a discussion, the Liu family quickly gathered 100 drops of blood and brought them to the military palace as fast as they could. In fact, Liu Mu's strength had also reached their expectations. From the very beginning of the battle, Liu Mu had an absolute advantage over his opponent. But the elders of the Liu family and others couldn't believe it. Liu Mu had used his strongest technique, but he was still defeated. Moreover, he had lost the ability to fight and fell in a pool of blood. What did this mean? It meant that the preparation work of the Liu family was all in vain. Moreover, the Liu family's plan was all in vain. This was too big a blow to the Liu family. Therefore, the elders of the Liu family, after seeing this scene, did not ask about Liu Mu's injury. Instead, they jumped out directly and questioned Fang Chen. Humph, so what if you are the commander of the military palace? You are so cruel and merciless to deliberately hurt the disciples of the Liu family. This is a heinous crime. If you don't give us an explanation today, don't even think about leaving here. Yes, the Liu family is not so easy to bully. The elders stepped forward and aggressively surrounded Fang Chen. Ha ha. Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back and restrained his aura. A cold smile appeared on his face. When Liu Mu challenged me, why didn't you say that he was offending his superiors? Now that Liu Mu had been defeated, it was ridiculous to say that he hurt the disciples of the Liu family. The Liu family has gone too far. The generals of the military palace who woke up from the shock also looked dignified. They all opened their mouths and scolded the elders of the Liu family. This is the military palace. Please don't break the rules of the military palace. Yes, we watched the whole battle. The commander did not cheat. Liu Mu's defeat can only be attributed to his inferior skills. A loss is a loss. Can't the Liu family afford to lose? When the generals spoke, the elders of the Liu family naturally had to consider. At this moment, Fang Chen walked over to Liu Mu, who was lying in a pool of blood. With a suction force from his palm, 100 drops of demon devourer blood were sucked into his pouch. Seeing this, the elder of the Liu family bared his teeth. Liu Mu was defeated, and the Liu clan admitted defeat. However, these 100 drops of blood were the Liu clan's heritage, and they could not let the military palace take them away. "Stop. Kid, take out the blood. Chimph, you dare to take my Liu clan's things?" Several elders had ferocious looks on their faces as they jumped onto the martial arts stage to force Fang Chen. Fang Chen shrugged. How could he hand over something that was already in his pocket? Besides, this blood was too important to him. The wager between Liu Mu and me was 100 drops of blood. This was something that even your Liu clan agreed to. Now that he has lost, why can't I take the wager? Fang Chen asked. You used despicable means to injure Liu Mu. It's one thing for our Liu clan to not pursue this matter, but you even dared to try and take away the blood. Dream on. Fang Chen shook his head. If the person who lost today was me, would you also ask Liu Mu to take back our wager? Faced with Fang Chen's questioning, the elders of the Liu clan had a terrible look on their faces. But at this point, they had to do this. Even if they had to completely fall out with the military palace, they had to get the blood back. How dare you? Many generals from the military palace came to the martial arts stage and surrounded Fang Chen in the middle. This is the military palace. Are you trying to rebel? The military palace belonged to the Xiaoyaro army and was the strongest force under Xiaoyaro Hu. The Liu clan causing trouble in the military palace was a slap to Xiaoyaro Hu's face. Do it. Sure enough. Several elders attacked regardless of the consequences. The Liu clan betrayed the Xiaoyaro palace. Kill them without mercy. In an instant, the martial arts stage was in chaos. The soldiers of the military palace, led by many generals, surrounded the elders of the Liu clan. As for Fang Chen, he stayed out of it. Kill them. It's best if both sides suffer. Fang Chen muttered to himself. The sound of killing shook the sky and the smell of blood filled the air. This situation lasted for half an hour. Dong. The ground shook and showed signs of cracking. The sound of fighting gradually stopped. Fang Chen turned his head and looked. One of the generals came forward to report. Of the 3 elders of the Liu clan, 2 died on the spot. The remaining one had lost his ability to fight and was suppressed. The Liu clan betrayed the Xiaoyaro palace. This is a serious matter. I beg you to escort this person to see the Marquis. Fang Chen nodded. The Liu clan was very powerful. The military palace alone couldn't compete with them. They could only inform Xiaoyaro Hu. Moreover, he didn't care about this at all. He couldn't stay in the Xiaoyaro palace for too long. His goal was to swallow the demon blood. I'll take him there in 3 days. Fang Chen rolled his eyes and said with a smile. When he broke through to the Holy Emperor realm, he could get the blood rewarded by Xiaoyaro Hu. Coincidentally, this was a great opportunity to get the blood. The reason why he needed 3 days was because he needed to absorb the 100 drops of blood first to avoid any more trouble. Yes, Commander. For the rest of the time, the matter here was left to the generals. As for Fang Chen, he returned to the commander's mansion and set up a formation to prevent others from looking. Then, he began to absorb the blood. These 100 drops of blood were of the same level as the 3 drops of blood in the military palace's treasury. Therefore, Fang Chen was very experienced in absorbing them. Hiss. He opened his mouth and sucked, and a drop of blood was immediately digested. Continue. Every time he absorbed the demon blood, he could feel the change in his perfect bloodline. When the demon blood entered his body, it was almost completely broken down. 3 days later, Fang Chen opened his eyes. The blood in his body was vigorous. The transformation of his perfect bloodline had reached an extremely high level. Phew. Fang Chen took a deep breath. He felt the demon-devouring aura in his body. 100 drops of blood not only transformed his perfect bloodline, but also made him contain the demon-devouring aura. In this way, his disguise was more like it. It's time to go, Fang Chen said to himself. After absorbing 100 drops of blood, Fang Chen realized. If he wanted the perfect bloodline to completely evolve and completely restrain the demon-devouring bloodline, this level of blood was far from enough. I have to work harder. In the square, Commander, the Liu family sent a letter asking the military palace to send this elder back immediately. They also asked you to personally bring 100 drops of blood to apologize, otherwise, a general said in a low voice. Otherwise what? Fang Chen asked. The Liu family was really bold. At this point, they still dared to threaten the military palace. Were they really not afraid of Xiao Yarohu? Or, Chapter 3674. Otherwise, the general's face was very ugly. The Liu family was too arrogant, and the news they sent was very overbearing. They threatened that within a month, the commander must personally send the elder of the Liu family back and return all 100 drops of blood. Or else, the military palace would never have a day of peace. Hearing this, Fang Chen sneered. The military palace is the military palace of the Xiao Yaro mansion, not the Liu family. He waved his sleeves and walked to the cell. The only remaining elder of the Liu family had his cultivation sealed and his limbs tied up. Fang Chen picked him up and left the military palace. Secret Mountain. The military palace was the only way to the Xiao Yaro mansion. Here, there was a dense forest with towering trees. A man with a saber on his back sat cross-legged on a stone. His body exuded a fierce and overbearing aura, and no one dared to approach him. Humph, the military palace is really bold, daring to kill our Liu family. One of the young men said. I heard that the new commander of the military palace is just a little guy of the Saint Emperor realm. This time it's interesting. With Big Brother Bloodsaber, he will definitely die. They were from the Liu family. The man with the saber on his back was called Bloodsaber, the strongest of the younger generation of the Liu family. He was also the only young warrior who had stepped into the Saint realm. This time, the Liu family was furious and wanted to take back the 100 drops of blood. On the surface, they attacked the military palace. Secretly, they sent the saint of the family to stop Fang Chen in Secret Mountain. This is the only way to the Xiao Yaro mansion. It won't be long before that guy comes. Several people were chatting. Only Bloodsaber did not say a word. A few days later, Fang Chen came to Secret Mountain. What a strong source of energy. Feeling the vast source of energy, Fang Chen could not help but sigh. Although this place was not as good as the military palace, it was many times stronger than the Chaos Realm. He remembered what the great sage had said at the end of the reincarnation road. 2/3 of the Chaos Realm's luck had been taken away by the swallowing demon patriarch. Therefore, the heavenly Tao of the Chaos Realm was damaged, and the source of the 5 elements was incomplete. In fact, for a long time, their cultivation environment was very bad compared to the source world. This was also the reason why. Why were there so many experts in the origin world? The Demon Devourer clan in the origin world had reached an unbelievable level after evolving from one generation to the next. Let's go. Fang Chen shook his head and continued on his way. However, just as he was about to cross the mountain, he suddenly sensed a trace of faintly discernible fluctuation. He rolled his eyes as if he had thought of something. However, he didn't make any noise and continued to move forward calmly. He's here. In the dark. The disciples of the Liu family conversed with each other and locked onto Fang Chen. Let's wait until he enters the formation we've set up, someone said. Temph, go easy on him. The clan master wants him alive, someone added. As for Bloodblade, he slowly drew his battle saber from his back as saber intent filled his eyes. Fang Chen slowed down his pace and continued forward. With every step he took, he could vaguely feel the complicated patterns on the ground. Array formation? Fang Chen frowned. His powerful divine sense quietly spread out, covering the ground as he continued to search. A moment later, he found the center of the array formation. Blood-severing array? Fang Chen was surprised. He didn't expect that someone from the Liu family could set up such an ancient array formation. The blood-severing array was very powerful. It could instantly cut off the blood flow in a martial artist's body, causing them to self-destruct. Even a saint would be afraid of this array formation. However, Fang Chen wasn't afraid. The perfect bloodline in his body was known as the strongest bloodline in the world. It could even devour and purify the Demon Devourer bloodline. A mere blood-severing array couldn't cut off its flow at all. So, Fang Chen didn't even think about it and swaggered into the blood-severing array. Sure enough, as soon as he stepped into it, he could feel a continuous stream of energy surging toward him from all directions. Buzz. Around him, invisible barriers intertwined, forming an independent space. The array is formed. The disciples of the Liu family shouted and appeared one after another. In front of them, a blood-red array formation trapped the commander of the General Palace. It trapped the commander of the General Palace so easily? Humph, with such strength, how can he be the commander? Don't be careless, Liu Mu died in his hands, someone reminded. With the blood-severing array, he will definitely die. I'll go in and meet him first. The burly man took a big step forward and jumped into the blood-severing array. Rumble. Immediately after, a deafening sound was heard. The disciples of the Liu family nodded, thinking that the commander of the General Palace had been suppressed. Crack. However, when the burly man's body flew out of the blood-severing array, they were extremely shocked. What's going on? Swoosh. They all stepped into the blood-severing array. The scene that appeared in front of them wasn't Fang Chen's qi and blood drying up. But, his qi and blood were vigorous, as if the blood-severing array had no effect on him at all. You, the disciples of the Liu family exclaimed. At this moment, Bloodblade also came in. The Liu family is really good. Fang Chen sneered. If it was anyone else, they would definitely be tricked. Kid, since you know that we are from the Liu family, why don't you surrender obediently? Hand over the blood and we can spare your life. The disciples of the Liu family clamored. Only Bloodblade stared at Fang Chen. You are very strong. Bloodblade rarely praised people. But he wasn't stingy with his praise of Fang Chen. This made the other disciples of the Liu family a little stunned. Brother Bloodblade. Bloodblade waved his hand. You are no match for him. Let me do it. Bloodblade held the blade in his hand and stared at Lu Chen. The others retreated. I didn't expect to meet such an opponent on this secret mountain. Bloodblade licked his dry lips and said in a deep voice. He could see that Fang Chen wasn't affected by the blood-severing array. Swoosh. He removed the blood-severing array. Brother Bloodblade, the others exclaimed. The blood-severing array is ineffective against him. Bloodblade's voice came into their ears. Hearing this, everyone was completely stunned. The blood-severing array, even if it was them, would be affected if they stayed in it for a long time. But this person was actually not affected. How was this possible? Seventh Order Saint. Fang Chen looked at him disdainfully. It seems that the Liu family has a lot of confidence in you. I just don't know if the Liu family will be heartbroken if I kill you. Liu Mu's death had no impact on the Liu family. What the Liu family cared about was 100 drops of blood. I, Bloodblade, have never been defeated since I started cultivating. I don't know how many blades you can withstand in my hands. Bloodblade's aura was like a rainbow. With a flick of his wrist, the saber vibrated and emitted a loud and clear sound. He wasn't a self-righteous idiot like Liu Mu. In the territory of the Carefree Mansion, Bloodblade was also one of the top young generation. There were rumors. Bloodblade had inherited the inheritance of the ancient powerful Blood Demon Emperor.